Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast we review every segment of Raw. I give you guys the wrestling news of the week. My name, if you guys were wondering, is the man that currently has way too many blisters on his hands, and it's not through masturbation. It is Turbo Tony. And we are with what I like to call the 8th wonder of the world, the first giant of WWE, Matt Dre, the Giant.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah, you like that? Yeah? Yeah.
The worst part, you started doing Wonder of the World. I was like, how the hell are you going to spin in China?
Well, I don't know which wonder he was, you know, so I thought, you know,
Yeah.
I know he was mentioned as that. But in regards to that. So, yeah. Yeah. You're a giant this week, Matt. Well, you're a giant in real life. We all know this, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, you tower over me at the very least. So.
At the least, yeah.
How you been this week?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a bit odd considering it's been like a week and a half since the last recording, and I was like, it seems normal, but it seems so far away.
It does, yeah. Like, it was like, because people for that don't know, we recorded the last episode like really early that week, so it's been like over a week and a half since we've actually spoken about any wrestling or anything along those lines. So
It's true.
and because of that, fucking a shit ton of news landed on our doorstep this week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
Ah, you haven't been prepared.
Mhm.
Everything has happened.
That's it. So yeah, we've got loads of news for you this week. Excuse me. Yeah. So. What is on the show this week? Obviously, lots of news. We have our NXT report card, a massive fan feedback. We are going to start getting to that point. We're going to have to start picking and choosing questions. But we fucking love the interactivity. So, I mean, until it gets grossly out of hand. Yeah, until it gets, like, grossly out of hand, then we'll keep it as it is for now. And obviously, our Raw review, we're on the road to Payback. And, you know, as per Randy Orton's promos, the word payback was used quite a bit, as you can imagine.
Payback. I'm here for payback.
Do you need any payback this week, Matt? Do you need any?
I think I'm owed some payback.
Yeah. I'm going to get some payback on my payback. Are you ready to pay back? Yeah.
You're a mad man.
I'm going to nickel back your payback, yeah? Why not? Give us our Twitter handle, Matt. Give us our Twitter handle. And no, it's not hashtag payback. No, it's not. So.
I think it could be.
No, it's not. What's our Twitter handle?
Obviously, at Talk Wrestle Pod.
At Talk Wrestle Pod. The very idea of us changing our Twitter handle to at payback, no.
At Nickelback's payback.
At Nickelback's payback. Yeah. The strange things that already come out of my mouth during podcasts, you know, and everything like that. Now, people may be wondering, why was I saying what I was doing? Yeah, I'm kind of beaten up this week. I'm looking at my hands now. I have blisters all over them. And that's from going and doing wheelchair basketball. I've, like, wrecked my hands. So actually typing out the notes for this week's episode has been extremely painful. But I got through and... yeah, we've got the episode.
Props on yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like wrapped up with bandages. I feel like I'm some sort of mummy from like the wrist down or something like that. But we'll get through it. Anyway, without further ado, like I said, this is going to be a big ass episode, so we should probably get on with it. To be honest, let's get into our news this week. A hefty chunk of news, and including some bits outside of wrestling, which we're going to bring in because they do tie in a little bit, and obviously we'll talk about it from there on out. First of all, the Tough Enough trainers have been announced. They will be, well, I say trainers. Tough Enough, it's hard to call them. And the reason why I say that is because it's not going to be the same Tough Enough as we're accustomed to. I went back and actually watched the last season of Tough Enough. I'm about halfway through it. Because some reason on the network they only have half the episodes, which is quite odd. But
of Austin's one?
Of Austin's one, yeah.
Ooh.
So... the reason I say that is that this is going to apparently be done more so like The Voice. Now, if no one's seen The Voice before, essentially you go out, you sing, the judges have got their backs to you, and then you sing, and then if they like your voice, then they can choose to turn around. So they don't look at your looks and all that part of that. Apparently they're going kind of with that sort of thing. I'm sure they won't do it where they can't sing, because looks is a huge part of what a wrestler is and stuff like that. But Essentially, Paige, Daniel Bryan, and Hulk Hogan are going to be the de facto judges.
Yeah, like the team captains.
Yeah, essentially. And the host is going to be Chris Jericho. So he's going to be the guy. He's not going to be like a trainer, right? It's not like that. He's not going to be like Austin was in the last Tough Enough. He's going to be the guy that basically hosts the show. So he's going to be used in a far different capacity than Austin ever was.
Yeah.
For better and for worse, obviously. Apparently, Renee Young is going to be like the female contingent, kind of, to support Jericho in that sense.
I mean, there's one thing I don't understand with it all, though, is, like, I've been listening to the more recent Jericho podcasts. And one of the latest ones, he mentions how he's going to be back on his, he does like a live show schedule.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't do TV, he just does live shows.
Yeah.
And it sort of clashes. Like, he'll be doing live shows and Tough Enough.
I think he'll be okay. Obviously, the WWE are pretty good.
Which then sort of like, that's not so bad considering he's not doing TV. But then my only worry is, are we going to be this long without Paige?
Yeah, well, that is one worry with that there as well. I mean, obviously they're going to do tapings. I think Paige is going to be out for a little while she does this, but not as long as maybe some people think. Because let's face it, an entire episode will be like a day of work. They can literally take her out for a week. That's 7 episodes if they really want to go for that. So they could end up doing that. But one of the main things that's different here is that obviously this is going to be a Tough Enough, not like we've seen before. They're definitely they're not going to be going the training route. They may eventually obviously go down that line, but they are doing it in this way different format. And Jericho, like I said, he's not going to be like Austin was, where he's going to be essentially leading the charge. He's more there. If anything, Paige, Hogan, and Bryan have way more say over who actually gets further in the competition than Jericho does. He's the host. That's all he is. It's a little bit weird to me, thinking of that. I mean, we're talking about Paige a little bit, and obviously we love Paige here. But for her to be like a team captain, I think that she should still be, as you say there, Matt. I mean, obviously, it isn't that much of an issue, but maybe still wrestling and being on the roster is still a big thing for her. So, it's still maybe there's. What I'm trying to say is that maybe there's people that have been with the company longer. This is probably a role that Natalya would probably love.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to get over here is that it's fine Paige being there, but I thought WWE would probably go with someone else. They'd probably pick Paige because, as much as we like Natalya, we do like Paige more, and that's the problem for Natalya, is that Paige is more popular. There's just no argument that Paige is more popular than Natalya. So,
it kind of spins off of this. I think it's also because Paige. I think Paige draws a lot more attention, not even just through popularity, just sheer almost on the physical level.
Yeah.
And I think WWE have done a terrible thing recently with have you seen they've got Paige as the most recent body form. It's like a minute video on YouTube
of her working out.
Yeah. Which is and there's something you can only just imagine. I've seen so many wrestling forums where it's like, I'd split Paige in two. So it's like WWE released that sort of video.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
It's basically a minute window for wrestling fans to fap, and I guarantee you they fap the shit out of that one. Because they're in the low cut tops, I've seen a few of them there, and they're like, they're getting all sweaty while they're working. And it's just like, they know exactly what they're doing.
It's the sideways glance, and you're just going to have some serious marks, just like, oh.
So people just instant erection with that sort of shit, yeah. But yeah, I get it there. What's quite funny though, in the middle line of all this, you look at all of the shows that Jericho's doing at the moment, and he's essentially taking over from Austin.
Yeah,
Austin was the lead of Tough Enough. Now Jericho's going to be the host of Tough Enough.
Austin was doing the podcast, the interviews on the network.
Yeah, and obviously now Jericho's filled that role. So it's good news for Jericho. People might be going, I can't believe he's taking this work away from Austin. No, it doesn't work like that. Jericho should take all the roles he can get. There's no skin off his back. He's got nothing to do with the beef between WWE and Austin, right?
Yeah.
Or the beef between from WWE toward Austin, because it seems like Austin just doesn't care anyway. So, yeah, Jericho, take all the roles, do it. You've got to be cutthroat. You can't be, I can't do this to Austin. Take the role if it's there. I've got no issue with him taking these roles. It's just quite funny that they're like, Jericho's like taking all those roles away. But yeah, Tough Enough. I'm interested to see at very least the format of what they're going to do it. I'm sure they'll give it enough production value, and we've spoken about this before. But it does. There is a large part of me that is just like they're going to commercialize the shit out of this, and it's going to end up being more about. It's going to be less about the in ring, and it's going to be more about about the show itself.
I think we'll know for certain where it's sort of like less what like the judges think.
Yeah.
And like, let's put it to public vote. Yeah. Oh no.
Mm. I mean, you look.
Whilst I understand the need especially in a like the next big wrestler sort of context, that fan participation and like voting in, like ending 0-1 to vote for Tom.
Yeah.
Like I can understand that, but. Because obviously you're going to want the crowd behind it, but then it's just that sort of
revenue. You make money off of it.
Yeah, but it's like, but are they any good, or are they just really liked by the crowd?
Mm. Yeah, it's I think the big problem with Tough Enough, the last one, is that you look at all those fantastic wrestlers. The one company that got the best out of the last Tough Enough series, arguably, was not WWE, and I'll tell you exactly who got the best out of it. It was Lucha Underground.
Yeah, they got Eve Elise.
They got Matt Cross, who was like the second one eliminated. He's now got Martin, who was on there, who broke his ankle during that.
Is he on Lucha?
He's now, he's just debuted on there. So, all that work...
I knew he was apparently going up for, like, an NXT tryout, but I didn't realise he's now on Lucha.
Yeah, well, he could still do that, It's just that, Lucha Underground is not going to lock him in as much as WWE contract would. He would stop doing Lucha as soon as WWE called him up, but still, he is doing Lucha. So, and you look at all that stellar talent they had, and then the one person that they did sign from all of it, we all know this. We already talked about this before. We don't want to talk about it too much, but that's the taste in my mouth that Tough Enough has left me.
Yeah,
they have got some good talent from Tough Enough, but the last season, when you look at the season itself, and I actually liked the way they did the last Tough Enough. I actually did really like the show. But you look at the results that they got, WWE. What did they get out of the show? Well, they got as much as they wanted, which was basically nothing, right? So that's the bottom line of it there. Hopefully, we all hope here that there'll be some stars that maybe will come and use this as a platform, and hopefully they can be used in a good enough fashion. But we'll see from there how things go from there. I'm not holding out my breath really, because at the end of the day, even if the fans or even the 4 people involved, even if they choose who wins, we all know it goes down to how one person thinks, and if he doesn't like you, you're fucked. That's the bottom line of it. So.
Oh, that's it. Just the one thing I find quite odd, actually, was just like on the Tough Enough subject, before we even get on with any more of the news, but it's just like I'm not like trying to slander anyone. If you want to like send in your video, by all means, go ahead. But I've just like nobody really knows what they're looking for. It's like, do you have 30 seconds to show how charismatic you are, or 30 seconds to go to sort of prove that it's like, oh, he looks like he could do this?
Well, I can tell you, right? If you're a fitness model, you've got a plus. If you are a former NFL player or someone who used to play lots of American football, that's a plus.
Ticking a box. Or even not even if it was like NFL, but it's just sort of like, oh yeah, I did this in college sort of thing. It's like, cool.
Yeah. Like, they're going to bring in a few people, I imagine, that just don't fit their mold, so they can essentially laugh at them a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? So there is that. But
look at him try.
Yeah, because shows do that anyway. Let's just say this, right? Because I don't want to spend on too long on this. I actually went to an X Factor tryout many years ago with one of our friends, right?
Oh god, yeah.
And she's got a good voice. I thought she was good enough, but she was better than the people that got called up. But that isn't the problem that I have, because voice is a very subjective thing, and obviously looking for certain thing. They called up a woman who couldn't sing, who was dressed up as a chicken, knowing that she would show up on the live show, she'd be laughed at, and it's a funny joke and everything like this, over like 20,000 good vocalists who could sing. So
why laugh at the funny person?
Exactly, they're doing it for a show. It's a show. They're not picking who's the best. They're picking who
Entertains.
Entertain, yeah, exactly. So that's the bottom line of it. There. But as I said, if you want to get into WWE, if you're like if you're a woman and you're a fitness model, believe me, half your work is pretty much done, right?
Yeah, like I've seen some of the like some of the videos, and it's just like former cheerleaders and things like that, and
Yeah,
it's just like, but they look. It's almost looks back to rather than I don't think like current day divas. I look at it and I just think like former, like the old generation, the Attitude Divas. Like they look really good, but then they also look like they could probably go.
yeah. Well, like the way that you got to look at it, right? Just as a final stamp on this. Um, Listen, you could show them loads of footage. This is more towards the women, right? If you've got a huge collection of great matches and you show them loads of clips of that, I'm really sorry to say, but a woman who comes up showing that she's a fitness model and looks prettier than you do will probably get picked over you. And that's it's not right, but it's what WWE do, right?
Actually, it's really bizarre because it kind of ties off, but then it would be a nice way to finish off. But have you seen recently? There was that released, like I've seen it on Facebook quite a lot recently. Picture of Bailey back when she was a fan,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just sort of like she looks like a dude.
Yeah. She's like the one exception. That's why people get behind her, is because she doesn't fit that usual WWE mold. And ironically enough, it's the girls that don't fit that mold that actually do succeed
Yeah,
nowadays, right? So, still there is that. And, you got hopes for the Pages of this world who did use the graft and does know how to wrestle, but it's not always going to be that way. WWE's perfect mold is the former and former rejected NFL player, that or the fitness model essentially is what they want. So
yeah.
anyway, let's move on. Mayweather and Pacquiao. Now, Matt, you may be thinking, why are you bringing us in here? That's boxing. You say you talk wrestling. Why are you talking about this? Well, apart from putting words in your mouth, Matt, I will tell you the reason why.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason I bring this up is because we've always stated here. Now, don't go too crazy with this. We will explain. Right? Is this leads to a few different things, but I've always said that not so much boxing, but UFC does play at some of the demographic that WWE at least aspires to. WWE tries to aspire to a general demographic, but you've got to look at the guys like me and Matt. That we are also competed by other companies like UFC and stuff like that. They're all trying to get our attention, right? And
Especially as we're actually of the age demographic where WWE are sort of more worried that it's like, but they're more aware that this shit happens, that's a thing.
WWE should be more worried that over certain demographics than they are. At the moment, they attack all demographics. They try and do a general global thing, which is fine. But I imagine that the majority of their subscriptions are purchased by people of our age range, right?
Yeah.
And we are, I think WWE's, I wouldn't say hottest commodity, because at the end of the day, you get it into kids. You get them fans early, and then they're fans for the rest of their life. That's the way they want to work, and it is a good business model to at least try and adhere to that. But at the moment, we are the ones giving out our money each month for their network, so that's the bottom line of it. So, how does Mayweather versus Pacquiao line out? First of all, let's talk about the fight. The fight fucking sucked. Anyone who saw it knew it sucked. I knew it sucked going in, because I am a bit of a boxing fan, and I have watched a few Mayweather fights, and anyone who's watched a Mayweather fight before knows the guy doesn't like to box. As in, he doesn't like to fucking punch. So he'll run around the ring, get a few jabs, win on points. That's what he'll do. And I knew it was going to happen. That's why I didn't buy it. Because I knew it was going to be shit.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it because you're not a big fan of boxing anyway. But
I've watched boxing I've watched it in the past.
Yeah, you watched a few fights. I think you watched back in the days when we were younger, like Lennox Lewis against Tyson and stuff like that. That was the big fight.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what the most recent one was. It was St. George.
Oh, Groves and Frotch. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's it. So, why does this play in? Why are we talking about this now? Because I firmly believe that boxing is a dying sport. Now, some people may dislike what I'm about to say here, but boxing doesn't do as good a business now as it did globally. Now, the last two big names, in my opinion, are Mayweather, Pacquiao, and now they fought against each other, and everyone realised that fight fucking sucked. If they have a rematch, guarantee they won't make as much money as they do. because of because of different reasons, boxing's kind of on the down low, and UFC has had like a rise up. So with this really poor, and everyone by general consensus that fight was not entertaining, everyone's going to look on to what's the next big fight. The next big fight to me is Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo, which is under the UFC.
Yeah.
UFC, if they make that fight huge, a big, entertaining battle, then I firmly believe that they'll start pushing into boxing's land and say, well, look at boxing's best can give you that. This is what our best can do, right?
I think it's the one thing is obviously with like the decline of boxing goes with the rise of UFC. It's like, oh, you want to watch people fight? How about actually watching people fight?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, fight. There is some rules, but it's not as if there you can obviously do a lot more. You can put people in. There's a lot more to it in that sense.
Yeah.
So that's my thought on that, and WWE should be a little bit more worried in regards to, if UFC has a blowout night and they hit home run with McGregor Aldo, if I were WWE, I wouldn't just turn a blind eye to that. I would keep an eye on that shit because it is worrying for them. Another part of this as well, in due to that fight, is that Michelle Beadle. Now, you may know her as the one that got involved with AJ. AJ told her to fuck off and all this lot. She also did a lot of stuff for ESPN, doing interviews. I think she did that at the interview with Brock Lesnar. She did
that. She's the one that released that recent post about Triple H supporting Mayweather. Even though it's like, oh, why would you support Mayweather? He punched his wife.
I firmly agree with her. Absolutely.
I honestly don't care.
Well, I do, because I know a bit more.
It's like, yeah, okay, but at the end of the day, I don't care.
Yeah, let me explain, because I know a little bit closer. I do care, and I firmly agree. Now, do I agree that she should turn in her fan card? That was maybe a bit extreme. She's up to her own choices. I don't care how far she wants to go with it. Well, she turned in her card because Triple H is very, very supportive. And this goes into a question we have later on, actually. But he's very supportive of Floyd Mayweather. And if you know Floyd Mayweather's past, the only person he always honestly feels comfortable coming out of his shell and not doing a defensive stance, running away from and getting a few punches on, funny enough, happen to be women. He likes beating up women, right? I've got no time for the guy. I don't like him, right? And most people shouldn't like him for his actions. And he has served jail time for it, right?
Oh, yeah.
But he just seems, he can beat up women. He's Money Mayweather. He can do this. So, yeah, I think that it's quite funny. And it fuels a lot of thing when Triple H is posting stuff on social media. Oh, Mayweather's fantastic. And they do the documentary on Mayweather versus Big Show. They do all this stuff. And it plays into one of the things later on. It's like, well, Triple H had such a problem with China sucking dick. And yet he's happily promoting a very notorious woman beater.
That kind of plays into one of the fan questions later on.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about later, yeah. So, yeah, I'm fully, like, if Beadle... I don't like the woman, first of all, right? So don't go, oh, you're support... I actually don't like her, right? I think she does talk a little bit of bullshit, right? But on this... I'm completely fine with it, I tell you what, one thing I will say to her, if you're turning in your fan card, don't do it to wrestling, just do it to WWE, go watch Lucha Underground, the women there are fucking ass kickers. You'll love it. You'll fucking love it. They beat up the men there. It's brilliant, it's awesome. Sexy as well, so. Yeah,
In fact, they're the only major federation that do sort of intergender matches, don't they?
Yeah, and they're treated on... I know some people don't like it. I do, however. I do like that the women are treated more on an equal footing. But yeah, they're the thoughts on that on the Mayweather Pacquiao stuff, and yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I feel bad for anyone who paid the money for it, honestly, because it was a dud. And I don't want this to seem as you're blasting boxing. I do actually like boxing. I just think it's failing, unfortunately, because of a few very selfish people. Who have way too much power in that sport. So that's a very unfortunate thing. Here we go. Injuries, Matt. Injuries. Are you ready to talk about some injuries?
Oh, don't say that.
Sami Zayn was injured this week on Raw, making his arguably debut match. We'll talk about that match later on, obviously more during the Raw review. The extent of his injury and how long he's going to be out yet hasn't been released as of our recording.
It's believed to be a rotator cuff.
If it's a rotator cuff, he's out probably 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Which is really bad for the guy. if it's a rotator cuff injury. Funny enough, that's actually the same injury that Pacquiao, has now.
Yeah.
Whether it's before the fight or afterwards, that's the whole thing. But we're not here to talk about that. Yeah, that couldn't come even worse. Apparently, he did it during his entrance, and it was right off the bat.
I saw it as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that must really suck for the guy. Considering as well, this is meant to be his moment, and he's supposed to be having an NXT title match in a couple of weeks' time, which, if it is a rotator cuff injury, guys, he's going to be out for much longer than a couple of weeks. So
yeah,
that's the big worry with that. And you may think, man, that sucks. That really, really bad news. I've got more bad news for you. Hideo Itami is set to be out for 6 to 8 months as well.
Yep.
This was reported on by PW Insider. It hasn't been fully confirmed yet by WWE. So, some jury's still out on that. But PW Insider tend to be quite good in terms of sources. Apparently he is injured. He will be out for 6 to 8 months. And that means also he will be out.
I think his is leg.
Yeah, I think his isn't the same thing. It's just something along the lines that he's going to have to get sorted out. Which will take him out for a very long time. And that's really bad for the guy as well. And you may think, wow, that's shit. I have more injury news for you. It gets worse. Goldust will be out for 2 to 4 months. He's going in for knee surgery this week, which obviously sucks, and it's been bad for the guy because he's not been used that much. Hopefully this time away he can get a good return package and make his final run in the company.
I'm just trying to, especially considering how long it's been since we last actually saw Goldie.
It's been a long time, hasn't it, really? I mean, we haven't seen him much since he
was in the Andre the Giant Memorial.
Yeah, but, it's not as if he's been prominently featured or used in anything along those lines, which has been a shame. I think after that, the Goldust-Stardust match, unfortunately, things just haven't worked out well for him, and obviously now he's going in for surgery, so I hope he gets one good run, because he's going to have to hang up his boots soon. I'd like him to do it.
I just want to see it, even if he just comes back to do Golden Star again.
Hell, I'd even like it if maybe if he can get back quick enough and Cena has the belt. I'm not saying he should win it, but what a way to come back and have a really stellar match with John Cena, because Goldust can do it. So there's another.
Oh God, yeah.
But yeah, I hope he gets at least a mini run. To be honest, I thought he should have wrapped things up at WrestleMania if they had a better plan for him. Obviously, if they had the plan set out, which didn't involve him, so maybe he's extending things until he can get a bit more of a swan song, which fair enough, but he's going to have to wait. But Zayn, Itami, Goldust, all injured. Horrible news. And I really want those guys to be back on my television screen soon, because they are guys that I do enjoy watching.
Especially considering it's with the takeover events.
Oh man, that guts it out. Me and Matt have said that it's probably best that they amalgamate the match now, because that's essentially your two big main events of the night are gone. Right.
Yeah, the title match, Sami Zayn can't compete.
Yeah.
So Owens is just left there with the belt.
Yeah.
And it's the triple threat for number one contender, and it's you can't bring one. It's we're just doing him against Balor. Well, what about Breeze?
Yeah, but you could do Balor versus Breeze, but I think it's much easier just to go, okay, all these guys are out, triple threat title match, Owens, Balor, Breeze. Done. Right? And then you've got to try and find another match, or padding out a lot of the other matches, because you knew those two matches probably back to back will probably take about 50 minutes of the show. So hopefully they can figure out a good way. That's my ideal way of doing it. Balor, Breeze, Owens. Who wouldn't want to see Balor, Breeze, Owens? I'd like to see Balor, Breeze, Owens. So that doesn't entirely fix the problem, but it's the best way you're going to get anything out of it, I think, to be honest. And it's just really bad for NXT. Two tragic news, and news that at very least pertains at least something, to sort of, not experience, but I'll explain what I'm going here. News came out this week, and it did carry on the rounds, and WWE even made a statement in regards to this. Yeah, you'll get going here. Unfortunately, an 18-month-old child died this week due to the father performing wrestling moves. Yeah, that's essentially the whole thing of it.
The long and short of it.
Now, obviously, this father is a moron, right? I'm just going to say this outright, who thought it would be good to do wrestling moves. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, mostly of all, is because I have two daughters. They are both at their times. I have a daughter now who is roughly 18 months old. Do I wrestle with her? Absolutely. And when I say wrestle, I mean very gently roll around a bed or stuff like that, you know, all this sort of stuff, you know, tickle.
Like the one thing
and all this
that was not very clear is just sort of like what was done.
Apparently he tried to do like a power bomb or like a flying move, misjudged it, and they whacked their head off something, and that's what killed them.
I've power bombed your daughter though.
Yeah, but you didn't do it into anything. It was like gently on a sofa, right?
Yeah.
You didn't jump up and like fucking slam them down or anything. You were sitting down when you did it. You know?
Yeah, I think it's a terrible thing, and it's definitely like that whole "don't try this at home." I think it's the one thing. It's like I've done it, you've done it. Like obviously, your daughter is my goddaughter, so it's not like I'm going to actively go out to her, but it's like I have been trained to do it.
Well, it's like, even if you aren't, right, there's a difference between like fucking jumping and throwing a child and sitting down and gently placing them playfully on a couch or on a bed, right? Obviously, this was not that, you know, it was along this lines.
Yeah.
And by the report, it does seem like this guy was throwing his child all over the place, and this is essentially what happened from this. What I would state as a father of kids that have been that young, and like I said, I've played wrestling with them before, to an extent, yeah, before people go too crazy on me there.
Yeah.
If you're going to wrestle with any kid, then first of all, if they're impressionable, you have to say, you only play this with me, because I know how to do it and I'm safe. And you do it where it's safe, as in, you don't, like, throw a small child or across a room or try and do these moves that have any influence of danger around them, because, I mean, I don't know why I'm saying this. Our fans know this because they're not fucking idiots, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it is very tragic, and to be honest, it just reaffirms the fact that, you know, don't try this at home, and especially on kids that can't, you know, shouldn't be subjected to that sort of stuff. If you're going to wrestle with your kids like I do, just make sure you do it where you're safe, you know? It's not hard. There's only so much damage you can do when you're sitting down on a bed and you're literally rolling your child backwards and forwards, right? Even if my child fell off the bed, even if my child fell off the bed, then she's going to fall off literally a small gap, and this is even if it happens and there's no damage to be done, right? Yeah. I'm not literally standing on top of my bed fucking power bombing them off onto a desk. I'm not doing that, so because obviously, you know, this sort of stuff will happen. But it's very tragic, and I do feel bad for all people involved, and I hope the father gets jailed, and he will get jailed, because that's stupid. Yeah. You know, that's unfortunate. Anyway, Vince Russo is on our news this week, and you may be thinking, why are you talking about Vince Russo, of all people? Well, he decided to talk a little bit more shit, and it was a little bit more poignant this week. Vince Russo, I find, unfortunately, has a point of sometimes saying things to get attention. And we all know this.
Yeah. But I need to talk. Oh, great. Here we go.
He'll say something which I'm in no under illusions he probably believes. But he's saying it even though it doesn't need to be said, so he knows that people will respond to him. And this week he said that he doesn't understand why people are looking at Sami Zayn like a star, like he's a big deal. I'm going to say this, and I hope someone passes this along. Guess what? Here's the new flash. We don't think Sami Zayn's a big deal, right? Because he's not been on the main roster yet. He's not selling out shows. We're not saying he's a big deal. We're not saying he's a main event star. We're saying he could be, you idiots. That's why we chant for him, because people can get behind him, yeah? And he's saying, oh, he'll never be a big star. Well, we all know your track record of choosing which is, you know, you wanted David Arquette to be champion. Well done with that.
Yeah, okay, fair point.
Yeah, so like we all know your choices in terms of talent. Yeah, and it doesn't take. He's only saying this because he knows he'll get people defending Sami Zayn, because people know that the guy has potential. We're not saying he's going to be a massive star. No one can say that, but does he have the potential to be? Absolutely.
Oh, gotcha.
You know,
especially considering it's sort of like nowadays that it's less all power guys, and now we've got like someone like Sami Zayn, where it's just sort of like he's just so good to get behind.
Yeah, he feels like a guy. He feels like a genuine guy you want to cheer for. And you know what? That's the basis of what a fucking face is. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be a great. He could probably pull off a good heel, But I always think that that guy's calling card and what he's going to come most naturally to him is being the face that, like I said, we didn't have a problem with him losing the belt because the chase is always going to be more fun, entertaining with Sami Zayn. Because once he's there, people won't want to cheer for him as much because we all want him to succeed. It's a little bit like Daniel Bryan in that sense. I would like to see him as champion, but I hope people get what I'm trying to say with that. But it's like Russo's just saying here, people are looking like he's a star. He will never get there. He has the potential to be, right? And why not? What, do you have a problem with the Montreal crowd cheering for their hometown guy, knowing how much he's worked, and how hard he's got to get there? Like, you're saying stuff
I'm
knowing...
so happy to see Zayn with the WWE belt.
Yeah.
It's just like, I love it.
It's like with Russo, unfortunately. He talks, and sometimes, like I said, I'm sure he believes it. But why was it needed to be said? It's just very out of place. And you may say, it's relevant because Zayn debuted this week. But it's still out of place because it just didn't need to be said, right, first of all. And he's saying it because, maybe, like I said, he doesn't even know he's doing it because he knows that it will show up on the dirt sheet sites. It will show up here and people will argue back at him because I know he loves that.
And like he'll get a tweet, and the moment that first tweet comes through, it's like Russo feels a penis twitch.
Yeah.
So like, they're talking about me.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And I don't want to talk about him too much. I'm only bringing him up here because it's a bit more of a statement of how the guy operates. If you get annoyed at anything that Vince Russo says, do not tweet him back because he wants you to do that. He wants you to argue with him, right? Yeah. And then he can make some logic that guys, he's a wrestling troll. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
He wants you to respond so he can argue with you because that's what makes him happy, right? Just leave him alone. Yeah. He'll come up with more outlandish stuff. The guy will go mental if you just lock him in a room, don't listen to him, and then he'll just bang head against the wall until someone fucking listens to him. Just let him do that. That's fine. But just annoys me when he comes out with this stuff because it's just stupid. Even more annoying than that, Vince Russo doesn't take our Jackass of the Week award. Wow. First of all, we have that now. I don't know. Maybe
I was going to say that's a thing.
It's a thing. Maybe. If people keep acting like fucking idiots, then maybe. But no, that doesn't go to Vince Russo this week. And you think, who's the special guy that managed to take that? Well, it's actually Bob Backlund who managed to take that away from him this week. Vern Gagne's funeral was this week. As we did report last week, he did pass away, so his funeral was this week. Had plenty of big names there. Apparently, Gene Oakland had lovely things to say about the guy, and everyone clapped to his speech about him, so that's awesome. But during the eulogy, where his son was, talking about, his father and how it meant to him. Apparently, according to reports, Bob Backlund got up and decided to cut a heel promo against, Vern Gagne's son in the middle of the eulogy.
Way to go, Bob.
Yeah, that's being pretty much a jackass. There's a time and place. Hell, maybe you thought, Vern would love this if I did this. There's a time and place. You just don't do it. Yeah. And I don't know. There hasn't been too much going about it. All I've heard is that people were very uncomfortable and some people offended by what happened. And wow, it's not exactly out of the realm of possibility to know that Backlund's just a little bit not exactly in his own headspace. Everyone kind of knows that, but still, that's being a bit of a jackass. That takes a special kind of jackassery to mess up someone's funeral.
That's it. I mean, especially at a funeral, it's like, dude.
It's a shame that when we look at Vern Gagne now, at the very end of his legacy, there's just a small footnote that Bob Backlund ruined his funeral. I just think that's a bit of a shame to me, unfortunately, but still. Moving on to more news. There's some good news this week, and then there's just a lot of bad news. It's just like I just realised going through.
I've got to weigh it out.
Yeah, last bit of news this week. Martha Hart has condemned the use of Owen Hart in a new DVD that WWE plans to do. When they originally released it, I think it came out to. It wasn't said, but everyone naturally assumed that she would be on board because WWE obviously said they wouldn't do anything. Martha has the rights to Owen and everything like this.
Yeah. The final say.
Yeah. So everyone thought, maybe she's come around. Maybe the anniversary of how he would. I think it was his birthday that had happened recently.
Yeah, would have been his 50th.
Would have been his 50th, yeah. So maybe reflection got to her, and we were like, oh, that's cool. You know, maybe she's moved on. She's more happy with it now. No, not that way.
Not even close.
No, she released a statement saying she's completely against it. Doesn't want WWE to use him and just for their own gains and stuff like this. And it turned into an ugly situation, unfortunately. I don't know whether WWE now, whether they figured out a legal way that they can get this off the ground. But it does seem weird that they've announced all this and then they never, or at very least they just don't care what Martha has to say in regards to it.
It's kind of like could it also be as a result of like Booker's words the other day?
It all seems a bit timely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is that one thing we said before, and people might get angry, you know, at Owen's wife for this. Myself, not so much, because I deem death as a much more and the loss of a loved one way more higher than I want a DVD of the guy. You know.
Yeah.
That's just the way I look at it. And if she feels like it would be you know, if she doesn't want to get hurt, or you know, obviously she has been hurt already, then I always thought WWE would be a dickish move if they moved without her. But
they pushed it, yeah.
But still, it's to this point, and I'm sure considering Owen's all over the network footage, so there's only so much really that Martha can really get away with blocking them with. But no, it's just a shame, and. You know, maybe they wouldn't have been. Maybe she never would have gone to the side. But I hope there were at least some reaching out there saying, "Look, we would really like to do this." I hope WWE was like, "Oh, fuck her, we're going to do it. We're not even going to talk to her about it." You know, it would have been.
Just do it anyway, of course.
Yeah. So that's the news this week. Some very sad news and very tragic news, unfortunately, and people acting like idiots, which are frustrating as well. We'll talk about now people who aren't idiots, and that's our fans. Our fans are fucking tuned in. They know what they're talking about. That's what I say. They know what they want to talk about. And the things they don't know, or at least they want our opinions on, they ask us. And that's for the fan feedback, which we will do right now. Crimson Omega asks, who do we think should beat John Cena for the United States title? He thinks it's Roman Reigns. Now, I'll answer this very quickly because we actually answered it last week.
Hell no.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Essentially, yeah. That's the... we said that Reigns probably will be going for this year. I essentially said Reigns will be WWE champion this year, so he's not going to be close to the US title. I said someone like Wyatt, but I think someone in the comments either said, "Oh, maybe Tyson Kidd or Cesaro." Yeah, okay, I'd like that, but regardless, bottom line, anyone who wins it needs to be treated like Cena is now. That's essentially what we said.
Yeah.
So did that quickly. Kane St. Dennis asks, who do we think is the best actor from WWE? He's moved into acting or wrestling in general. He thinks it's Edge, as he's been amazing.
Yeah, didn't he also say, like, excluding The Rock?
Excluding The Rock, yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm screwed.
Yeah. With me, it's quite easy. I think it has to be Batista, most recently.
Fair point. And the fact that he's going to be in the new Bond film, which looks really good.
Yeah. I actually think, and a lot, I was maybe more critical than Batista of any moving into acting. And some of his early work I wasn't that impressed with.
Yeah.
But in Guardians and some of the movies he's done just prior to Guardians, I thought he's been very, very good. I
did see Man with the Iron Fists.
Yeah.
He was pretty good in that.
Yeah. I mean, he's improving. That's the big thing about it, is that, Rock's okay, right? Some of his films I roll my eyes at, unfortunately. It's very rare that Rock comes out with a movie that he leads, and I'm like, okay, I really want to see this. That's just...
I still really need to see Pain and Gain. Apparently that's brilliant.
Yeah, apparently that's okay. I'm not saying that Rock's bad. I just think that sometimes his choice... Like, I've got no interest in seeing San Andreas, or some of the other movies that comes out.
I don't.
But Batista, I thought him as Drax in Guardians was literally like... I can't imagine anyone else being Drax now. And if you've done that, if that's what I think of, then you've done that role right. Right?
Yeah.
If I can't imagine anyone else being that character, then you've done it. Congratulations, you've done as good as you could do. I have seen Edge in some episodes of Haven. I think he is good, but he needs to work a little bit, because at some points because he's still new to it. I know he's been there for a couple of years. I would like to see him tested a bit more, because
I haven't watched any Haven. I cannot comment.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched that much. I've watched some of the Edge parts of it, but I think he's good. So I don't. Kane's a little bit better than most people think.
See no evil.
In the See No Evil stuff, I actually think he's, at least in that role, he does fine. I just don't think he's better than.
I quite like See No Evil, to be fair.
I'm actually bringing up Batista again. I'm excited to see, as you say that, how he does fare in the new Bond flick, being Mr. Hinks in the new Bond movie. I think he'll do well. I honestly think that. I mean, he's obviously now got a job as Drax for the next couple of years because he's going to want to be in Guardians 2. There's the thoughts of he'll be in Avengers 3 when the Guardians are in there as well, when they will fight Thanos and all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, he's got a good role there for at least the next couple of years. So there's that, and obviously you can do money on the side. I tell you what, if he does a really good role and gets a lot of notoriety for Bond, him having that and the Guardians stuff,
we will probably never see Batista back again.
No, we're not. I guarantee we're not seeing Batista. What I'm saying is that he could be a rival to Rock. Not in terms of making money, because The Rock is a huge money maker, but in terms of people looking at him as like the best actor.
Went off and had success. Outside of. Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. He also says he wants Barrett to win the Money in the Bank and asks our thoughts on that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Barrett winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. I don't see it happening, but I do like it. Personally, another person I think will be cool to win the briefcase is probably Ambrose. I think Rollins and Ambrose have shown this week that they can pull off a high-octane match, which they've shown before. But I've always said that they've got a pay-per-view, a championship payper-view rivalry willing to go there. So
yeah, I think my other gripe with it is I agree. I'd like to see Barrett in a better position. Should he get the Money in the Bank contract? But then I'm sort of just like, yeah, but then it all depends where we're standing past SummerSlam.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, everything's going to change as soon as that certain Mr. Brock Lesnar shows up. And then, obviously, everything changes from there. I don't see him winning it, though.
Contract not going to be around for 3 months.
Yeah.
And the rest.
That's it. I mean, like I said, I don't see... As much as, like I said, I do like it, I don't see Barrett winning. Especially now he's the King Barrett. And we'll get into the whole King Barrett stuff later. Yeah. Believe me, we've got a few things to say about that. But yeah, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, obviously, I would love him to win it. I just don't see it happening. I think it's more likely that Ambrose or someone like that would end up winning it. So.
Yeah.
Bull Reindeer asks if we think it would be best to turn Ambrose heel at Payback. Now, obviously, he's been added to that pay-per-view match. My answer to that is no. I think that he still has a lot of good work to do as a face, and I think the majority.
I can understand his argument.
I can understand, yeah. I mean, Ambrose. I think Ambrose is good as a heel, but he's always going to be he's good as a face, but he's always going to be a better heel. I
can understand the argument of why to swap him to a heel, because otherwise it's 3 faces and a heel.
I think that's what they're going for, though, and they're going to do the shock thing of, Rollins still retained, or he cheated to retain. I think that's probably what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But no, whether it's best or not, no, I think he's got at very least a few months more where he could play as a face. But would I like to see him heel? Absolutely. But you have to think as well that a lot of the heel action on the roster is pretty much taken up by the Authority, by themselves.
Sheamus.
So, and, you got Harper and Sheamus and Wyatt, and there's a lot of heels at the moment that they have. And no, I think he's probably at the moment probably best he is. He could have been used much more effectively as a face, but I still think he has time. Yeah, as a face. Jonathan Ramos asks, how do we feel if our kids wanted to be a professional wrestler? Would we steer them away or be supportive? I like this question. I really do. My answer probably will shock a few people. Actually, no. Before I answer, because everyone knows I have kids, you don't, Matt. What would you do? I think that's quite interesting.
Okay.
Would you be supportive or try and steer them away?
I wouldn't steer them away.
But are you saying you wouldn't be supportive as well?
Like, I would support it, but the thing is, it's like, I can't say don't do it because I've done it. I don't know if it's like the worst bit is I'm reading the new Jericho book, and as a result, the one word in the back of my mind is hypocrite.
Yeah, you see, yeah.
I'd probably support.
Yeah. My answer is, and I have 2 kids, I would support. And the reason for that is because in the current wrestling climate, now in the 80s my question would have been different. In the 90s, especially with the way they use their women back in the 90s, definitely not. Now in the current wrestling climate, yeah, I would support it. Because now it's not as dangerous.
Because it's not as dangerous, and they're not going to be dressed like sluts.
Yeah, then I'm not going to see, my little girls dressed up in, fucking, essentially nothing, which is what some of the women were dressed in, during the Attitude Era.
And Nikki Bella isn't?
Well, she's still wearing clothes, I guess. It's not as if she's
less than some women in the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I mean,
less than Lita.
Yeah, I guess, but still, you kind of get what I'm saying. The women were way more sexualized back then, in that sense. But I would be supportive. I think actually, the reason I think I say that as well, I know it's going to sound really egotistical. I'm actually very confident of my parenting abilities. I'm very confident that I would be able to teach them with the knowledge that I know of some of the pitfalls of wrestling in general. I think I'd be able to teach them and help them. And it does require a lot of traveling and a lot of damage to your body.
If it's a son, I can open hand chop the little bastard.
Yeah, you know what I mean. If they come back to me,
he does not want to mess with daddy's chop.
Yeah. The one thing I would say to anyone who has kids that are of age and are saying they're 15, 16 and saying I want to be a wrestler, let them come back to you after they've taken a few bumps and let them say then if they want to take. Because believe me, you take a couple of bumps, you realise pretty quickly if that's for you. Yeah.
Yeah. As Austin, what was it? Austin, he always calls it, what is it? The come to Jesus.
Yeah, the come to Jesus meeting, where you realise, okay, I don't like this, and a lot of people realise after one training session, they realise I don't want any part of this. So, it's along the lines of it.
And I have seen people leave after day one.
Yeah, I mean, if a kid really wants to, if you got a child that really wants to do something, yeah, you saying no is not gonna stop them from wanting it. It just means that 9 times out of 10 they're gonna try and find a way of doing it without your say so.
Yeah,
that's the whole the drugs and alcohol thing. I've always operated on the thing, and I've always been brought up this way that if you're gonna do something, at least be, teach them the pitfalls of it and let them make their decisions. I trust my kids to a certain degree once I've given them all the knowledge they need to. So that's the way I go for it. Now, the one thing I would say to anyone, I mean, I'm spending loads of time on this, but still, the one thing I would say is that if you're like in your 20s and you've got and your parents are saying no, I don't want you to be a wrestler, then the main reason why they're saying that is that they don't want to chase your dream for 10 years. And believe me and Matt know people like this. Chase a dream for 10 years and then you end up fucked for the rest of your life because you didn't make it and now you have no job prospects and you're in a lot of debt. The one thing I'd say to anyone who's looking to become a wrestler, you need to work very hard because you need to work another job on the side. You can't just wrestle and just think that'll be everything. So... make sure you've got a comeback. Make sure that you've got a fallback plan, because if you don't, you'll be fucked. I mean, me and Matt know a lot of people who went into wrestling are fucked, didn't have a come out plan, and they're still fucked. So that's the unfortunate thing of it. Thomas Miller, Matt, is back. We all remember Thomas Miller. He's one of the earliest guys to support this podcast. So we love Mr. Miller, as I like to call him. He says, who would we like to see paired up together for as a team? He would like to see Swagger paired with someone to restart the Real Americans. First of all, Real Americans. Okay, if you want to do Real Americans, except it's kind of already been done. However, the only person that would make that work is Zeb Coulter, so you'd have to have him back.
Yeah.
You can't just have Swagger with someone else if Coulter's not there. Coulter is the Real Americans. If he's not there, there is no...
The Real Americans aren't there.
Yeah. So,
essentially.
It's a large thing that sometimes the manager of a team or a manager of a talent is pretty much the entire show, and without them, there ain't that much there. And definitely with the Real Americans, that is the case. In terms of the actual question,
I wouldn't like to see the Real Americans back. To be fair,
myself, no, because I think it's been done. And
I think it's been done. It's been done to death. Like, unless you're going to suddenly just get, like, the Russian contingent turn up.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, I understand what Thomas is saying here. It gives you something, so you can pair up someone with Swagger, and suddenly these two guys can be used again, you know, even if they're under the Real Americans banner. But I'd hope they tweak something with that as well. Anyway, go back to the original question. If two people that I'd like to see paired up as a team at the moment, there isn't too many guys at the moment that I would want to pair up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I think that one of the ways that you could do it is the two people that I said, and the reason I did this is that even though considering what happened on SmackDown aside, Eric Rowan's been doing nothing recently, so I thought, okay, you pair him up with Bo Dallas, and you make them be Bray Wyatt's lackeys again. Because, you know, you've got Bo, who's got the brother thing, so maybe, you know, Bray converts his brother.
I think they're trying to keep Bo away from Bray. Like, I know you had that moment where sort of like Bo was chatting to Ryback and then Bray turned up. But I think they're trying to keep that distance.
Yeah, I agree. It's just
although recently, since like Bo Dallas has started growing the facial hair, it's like, oh my god, you really are brothers.
Yeah, you know, the way that I'd look at it is that, like I said, in terms of the question, who would I like to see paired up? That's who I'd like to see, because I think Wyatt on his own hasn't worked that well, and the majority isn't down to, he doesn't have any muscle, you know, doesn't have two guys flanking him. That's not the reason why he's failed. It's because WWE haven't booked him right. That's why he's failed. But giving him two guys again would help. You know,
bring back his cult following.
I mean, look at Rowan, right? Since he split up from, I mean, arguably he's done better than what I thought he would from breaking up with the Wyatt family, but he hasn't done that great. You know, he was a resident jobber for Big Show for, you know, a couple of months.
Yeah.
And, you know,
he filled a spot at Survivor Series,
and that was essentially what he's done. You know, so that's it. Make him useful again. Bring him back to Wyatt. Bo is always going to be a jobber in his current gimmick. He's not going anywhere. Let Bray convert him. Pair them two up as a team, and then you've got a team there that you can go off and use into the tag team singles or just to flank Wyatt whenever he needs it.
That's it.
That's the way I
just make Bo a Bo lever of his brother.
Of his brother. That's it. Now, I thought Bo Dallas's his gimmick could work, but WWE have shown that they have no interest of making that work. So. That's the bottom line over there. Two guys, Matt. Do you have anyone that you have in mind?
Nope.
No? Should we move on?
Because I think it's just like the only people I could think of, like, we're getting really anyway. Like, I was like, yeah, do you know what? Neville and Ziggler would be quite good, but guess what? We're getting Neville and Ziggler.
Yeah, they've been teaming together.
Because because the combination of a feud. And
yeah.
There's not really anything that I could think of off the top of my head that I'd be like, that I haven't already been getting.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, you may be thinking just before Kid and Cesaro got together, I wouldn't mind those two pairing up, and suddenly they're pairing up with.
Yeah,
yeah, I get what you mean. The main thing
pairing up for a match, I would love to see Cesaro versus Zayn again.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Not the same thing, but you get where I'm going.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But. That's the one thing I thought that was a little bit shame with Zayn getting injured as well, is that, you know, you want to give him another match to get really over. You have him have that match with Cesaro, but he wins. That would be pretty cool if he had another. Just literally copy and paste the match they had in NXT, put it on Raw, and Zayn's going to have this, you know, awesome match. But still, there we are. Cameron James says, if we could start a feud with any two stars or two teams from any era, what would they be? And this is quite a big question. Any two.
Legion of Doom versus the Ascension.
What, just because you want to see the Ascension just job out big time?
It's like, who is the best at shoulder pads?
Find out who does it.
Battle for the pads.
I have a team and two stars that I would go. I'd probably go the one match that I have never seen, and I think a lot of people would like to see, in their primes, feuding with each other in a long, lengthy thing with a big match at the end of it. Probably Austin and Punk. I'd probably pick those two. Yeah. Also, you know, Sting and Taker were both in their prime. Not now, but when they were both in their prime would have been obviously a dream match as well. Teams, I would have gone the Shield against the Four Horsemen.
Ooh.
That is a big one, isn't it? Yeah.
Ooh.
Wouldn't that be good? And I honestly, when I think of the Shield, I do put them in the same rank as teams like the Four Horsemen and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Or would you do the Shield against the 3 original members of the NWO, maybe? 6-man tag match.
No.
No. That's why I went with Four Horsemen. Because I just thought, wrestle-wise...
But I think, just... To have a Reigns Arn Anderson match.
yeah, that's it. But you look at the likes of...
this age, you'll have so many people just like, fuck Reigns, Arn, so much better. Like, whoa.
Well, if you look back, if you were to do the Shield against the Four Horsemen in the Four Horsemen's era, Reigns would have got cheered to high heaven. They would have loved him because he fit that role far better.
And he's beaten the shit out of the Four Horsemen.
Exactly, so there you are. But yeah, and you may be thinking, well, that's still 4 against 3. I'd still would have done. You could do 4 against 3, but maybe cut one of the guys off. Obviously not Arn Anderson or
Rick and Arn would be in it.
Yeah. But
I don't know who of the 4 would they cut.
I don't know, but maybe they can chop in and change. I don't know whoever whichever one they want to do. But that's my 2 picks. What about you? 2 guys or 2 teams apart from Legion of Doom against the Ascension, just because you want to see Legion of Doom fucking murder them, but still.
And the word, I feel disgusted in saying that. Because about a year ago, I was such an Ascension fan.
How quickly that changed, huh? I know, right? Sorry, not the Ascension, but the Dissension. Oh, the Dissension. Because they're descending.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, go on.
I get what you're saying. Ooh.
I know the answer to one of these from a lot of people would probably be Austin and Hogan.
No.
But I wouldn't want to see that.
No, I wouldn't want to see that.
Not over other things that we can.
The thing is, I was actually thinking of why not, like, DX versus, the Hart Dynasty.
Yeah.
Not as in, like, the pussy ones, like Brett and Anvil.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a few big ones you could do. Those are the ones that popped out to me. And the reason why I'd want to see Austin and Punk is that I think they could do a great match, but it's the promos beforehand which I think would be gold. They really would.
Yeah.
So
the lead up to it.
Yeah. And it's not even, I drink beer, you're straight edge. It's more than that, okay? And I wouldn't want them to focus that much on that. But
I would, if it hadn't already been done, that's not really Austin's style, but like similar to like Jericho, when Jericho was feuding with Punk.
Oh, do you mean like attack the fact that he's a...
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Because in that situation,
that's not really Austin's way.
you look at. I mean, he would have done it in a funny way, maybe, because Punk would be the heel in that rivalry, I would say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Punk was a far better heel than Austin ever was. Let's just be honest. So, a genuine, bona fide, I'm a heel. Austin was always a heel that everyone loved for being heel.
Yeah.
So he was de facto face for that. But Shield against Four Horsemen, I would love to see that. That's my team one as well. So there you go. And the fact that you like that as well. I know I picked right. So excuse me. Caleb Duckworth leaves a very interesting comment, and I left this till last. This kind of leads into what we said before. I think this is probably one of the best comments that Caleb's ever left on this show. He says that during the PG era, is it right that WWE lets the likes of Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg send messages to kids whenever they like on their show, and they're promoted? Yet, a great, some would say legendary, female wrestler in China isn't being inducted because she made a few adult movies. Is he being too moral in a corporate money-making world? Now, first of all, I'll answer that question. Yes, you are being too moral for a money-making world, but that means you at very least have good morals.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't feel bad about it. I certainly don't.
No. It's like, the moment I spotted the question, I was like, we've got a really good one.
Yeah.
Just like as I'm dropping the message, I was like, because it's... Yeah, I get it, though, because... Like, Triple H is like, the moment you Google China, you're just going to find One Night In.
Mm.
But, like, you're gonna like just Google Snoop Dogg, and like within the first 3 choices of your Google search is gonna be is really stoned.
Yeah. He does fucking shows all the time when he's like he literally he does drugs the way that you would eat your breakfast, and he's proud of that fact, right? He doesn't try and hide it or anything along those lines.
It's almost like the thing is though. The thing I find quite funny actually with Snoop Dogg is like in a wrestling term, is the fact that he's a stoner is his gimmick.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, if you were to look at it that way, yeah. Here's the thing, right? And here's the reason why WWE get into bed with the likes of Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg, and they don't with China. Is because Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa are popular in the mainstream market.
Yeah.
China isn't. Believe me, if China was out there, she could have done a few adult films. Look at Kim Kardashian. If Kim Kardashian did stuff, remember she was there. She did like a little thing for WrestleMania fucking years ago, right?
Did you?
Who is the biggest porn star in the world?
I've already forgotten.
Yeah, it was like something really small. But who is the biggest porn star in the world? People might be throwing different names at me. The biggest porn star in the world is Kim Kardashian, right? Because she is raking in, still to this day, money off of her sex tape. And that's... I'm not just going, because... No, that's actually how the business works. You can buy her sex tape and the money goes to Kim Kardashian because she gets royalties for it. She is, de facto, the biggest porn star in the world. Yet WWE didn't have any problems with that, right? And they will use the excuse of, oh, well, it was a sex tape that she didn't want to come out to the public. But she still was getting money for it, so along those lines. But
she's getting paid for it. That's porn.
Yeah. Now, people have said before, and I'm one of the other people that actually firmly believe that China shouldn't have been so naive to think the minute she signed on for adult films, any chance of a WWE Hall of Fame induction was gone. She should have known that, right? And
I don't think so much. I think it's like if she did like the one, then maybe they could have just like written it off as like a bad point.
Well, if you remember, let's look at China's adult career, right? She had her leaked video. If she had left it there, I think she would have much more of a chance because then WWE can use the same excuse. She didn't want it to get out.
One thing I love so much is like it clearly would have like it's kind of proves the point that it's like if she left it at the leaked video, then all would be good because X-Pac's still around.
No, I think it's more along the lines because then literally she could say that, oh, I didn't want it to get out and all this lot and everything like that. Which
I know, but it's sort of like. But that's sort of what I'm saying. It's just like, if they were just like, it was a leak, well, they could have got away with it, because it's not like X-Pac carried on and did porn. Yeah,
exactly. But then they did, and even with X-Pac, right? X-Pac and China did a second video knowing they would do it, right? And they even played to it. You can even,
actually.
Unfortunately, I've seen clips, which wasn't exactly great, but... And then the kicker is, and then she did actual like professional porn, right? So she went and did actual adult films.
No. I wouldn't even go like, did you see? Like, we're massive porn nerds. But did you hear about like? Apparently, she did a Royal Rumble themed one.
Yeah. I've heard that.
It's just like, oh, really? Especially, it's just like, look, this guy looks like Hogan. Dick.
Yeah.
Look, it's Triple H. Bigger than the last one.
Yeah.
Dick.
Yeah. But no, what I'm trying to say with China, right, is try and get down to the crux of like the comment here and the question, is that China, with all that, then maybe WWE would have left her alone. But if she had left it there at the very beginning, then maybe. But the bottom line is that how popular you are to the mainstream market is the more willing WWE is to blur the lines on what is really their morals.
Yeah.
So they don't want to promote drug use or anything along these lines. But Snoop Dogg is a massive multi-million selling recording artist. Wiz Khalifa, for some reason, because I don't like his music, is popular, right? So they're going to have them on the show because they are popular, right? And that goes down to, Caleb's message here. Yes, you are being too moral for the money-making world because money-making worlds. Let me tell you straight.
Money buys morals.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The more popular you are, the less morals make any sort of impact into the equation. Right. Let's just look at it. Fucking Mayweather. Right. He's got promoted huge. He is a convicted felon for beating up women. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if you looked at in the case of China, China didn't hurt anyone by making a porn video. You know, she didn't beat up anyone. Mayweather's a convicted, but he's huge. He's Money Mayweather. He's worth millions of dollars. You know, he's going to be in the big prize fight money fights. That blurs the lines. That pushes it to how WWE are going to look at you. China, our own unfortunate nature, isn't that popular at the moment, and it's not her fault. It's just, you know, she's not a multi-million selling recording artist, or she's not, you know, the most, you know, successful boxer of this generation. And also, as well, her ex-boyfriend is Triple H, so that obviously does work against her. So
it's the one thing that I love is the fact that they're constantly just like, yeah, that makes no difference. Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it does make some difference. It does, but I firmly believe that if China hadn't got into porn at all, then there's no argument. Then she should have been inducted. But unfortunately, she's given people like myself a little bit of ammunition to state, well, I can understand why she isn't. You know. Now, is it right? No, but I can. If I were China, I would know from the minute she signed a contract to make herself an adult film star, that was it. You're done, right? Yeah. And that's the unfortunate bottom line of it there. But no, I thought it was a really good comment there, and unfortunately, it is indicative to corporate America. The more popular you are, the less likely they are to look at your deficiencies as a person. You know. So, and like I said, you know, Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa, all their stuff aside, like I said, I think Floyd Mayweather is the biggest one of that. You know.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a nice individual. He will openly admit that he's not a great person. He's a horrible person. But WWE are more than happy to promote him and to do work with him because guess what? He's popular. Or not so much popular, but everyone knows who he is, and he's got a lot of money behind him, and he was back to being a big super.
It's a household name.
Yeah. There you are. Anything else you want to say about that, Matt? I think we covered that.
No. I don't think.
Well, get your professor hat on, you son of a bitch. It's time to do NXT report card. Are you ready, Professor Matt? Are you ready?
I'm very much ready, Professor Tony.
Yeah. Now, in our class this week...
I feel like I should fetch the pipe.
Fetch the pipe, yes, you can, you know, exactly. You do have a pipe, didn't you? I gave you a wooden pipe years ago. Man.
Where is it? It's actually on my desk.
It's a proper, like, ornate wooden pipe, isn't it? Yeah.
There it is.
There you go. He's got it now. So
pipe it ready.
That's your NXT report card pipe. So in our class this week, we do have Bull Dempsey, Baron Corbin, and the boss, Sasha Banks. We will be grading them from A to F in regards to how they are doing now, not so much what potential they have. Well, a little bit on the potential they have, but how they're actually doing at the moment. Now, this is a somewhat new segment. It's only our third week doing it, so if you are new back to this, myself and Matt have wildly different grading standards, so don't be shocked if we have different grades. It's just the way we do things. First of all, let's talk about Bull Dempsey. Now, I like to call him the resident jobber of NXT, especially now.
CJ
Parker's gone, yeah. It's so much to the fact now, when I watch NXT, you could say I mark out for Bull Dempsey because I shout out job every single time Bull comes up on the screen. So, in that sense, I'm marking out. Probably not the mark out he wants. Yeah. I think when I look at Bull Dempsey, I look at a guy who hasn't done anything overly exceptional. I think his in-ring work of what we've seen is mediocre, and his personality and look and you know the way he's
well, they refer to him as the throwback, don't they?
Throwback.
I hate that term.
Yeah, because I don't think anything of the guy. I think his personality and the way he's presented, because presentation is a big thing about one of the other guys they're talking about. The way he's presented is awful. Yeah. If I were to look on the totem pole in NXT, you've got the likes of Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Balor, Itami, Breeze, you know, fighting at the top to see who's going to be top dog. Bull Dempsey's at the bottom, looking for scraps instead of being the alpha male.
I mean, it's quite an interesting point because I was just thinking, as you were mentioning those people, it's like with the exception of like Zayn and Neville, like Bull's been there longer than some of the others. He's been there longer than Itami, and he's been longer than Balor.
Much longer. Much longer. So you think that he would have more of a time to make an impact, and yet he hasn't made an impact.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed in Dempsey. I thought at very least his in-ring work would, or what I would see of his in-ring work would get better, but the match he had against Baron Corbin, I thought was very boring. I thought it was very lackluster. And you'd expect that, Corbin, he's not as experienced as Dempsey, so you'd think Corbin, Dempsey, would take the match, and drag it to where he wants it to go, even though he's the one that was losing. He would dictate the pace of the match, and he would kind of be the ring general. I didn't see anything like that.
Not at all.
Yeah, I didn't see anything along those lines. When I look at Bull Dempsey, it looks like NXT wants me to look at him and think, wow, he's a badass. I look at him and think, no. Sorry,
yeah, not sold.
Not so much.
But the one thing, he uses a bloody flying headbutt as a finish, and I'm just like, really? I'm just not a fan of a flying headbutt finisher.
To his defense, at least it's better than Solomon Crow's headbutt, which I don't like at all, but still.
His off the ropes?
Springboard off the... Yeah, he kind of just throws himself against the thing and then blows forward. I don't like it.
Is it meant to be a headbutt or a splash?
I don't know. I'm sure it's supposed to be a headbutt, because he always headbutts.
I think it'd be quite interesting when we do Solomon Crow.
Yes, yeah, that'll be interesting.
Because, the NXT universe loves him.
And just a bit of a spoiler, me and Matt do not. So.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Bull Dempsey, my grade for you, unfortunately, is a big fat D. Yeah, I've got D as well.
D for Dempsey.
D for Dempsey.
Ooh.
D for dunce, because I don't think you're that entertaining. And unfortunately, with the amount of time you've been there and you haven't improved over this time, that puts you in a very precarious position. And every single time you come out, now unfortunately, you've taken CJ Parker's role, and that ain't a good role to have. You are the residential jobber, and you literally just got destroyed this week by Rhino on NXT. So
I haven't watched this week's NXT, but
Bull Dempsey's on it, but he ain't on it for long. So that's it.
But especially considering it's another one of those do we really need Bull Dempsey? We have Rhino.
Yeah, that's it. Bull Dempsey wishes he could be Rhino, but he'll never be Rhino.
Yeah,
that's it.
Even looks a little like Rhino-esque.
Yeah,
with the singlet and the hair.
But it just doesn't look. I mean, when you look at Rhino, I look at that guy.
Shit, he's a 5-foot wall. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to get speared by that guy. I would look at Dempsey and go, "You're not that much of a, but you're trying to be, aren't you?" That's a big problem with Dempsey, is that you look at him and you think, this is a guy trying to be a badass. He ain't anywhere close to being a badass. So
yeah.
And it's the way he carries himself and conducts himself as well. Kevin Owens, the way he conducts himself is like a badass, like a guy you wouldn't want to mess with. Dempsey kind of comes across as a guy who's just trying too hard, but just doesn't really get it. So, grade D for Dempsey. I hope, like I said, this isn't here just to rag on people. I hope he shows us something. I hope he does, but I'm not holding up my breath.
It can only improve.
It can only improve from there. At least he got a higher grade for me than Dana Brooke did, so that's a plus. But the difference is Dana Brooke only just debuted, so I expect her to be bad, so that's it. Baron Corbin. The presentation of Baron Corbin is on par with almost anyone else on the roster.
Yeah.
My only lack is, and the issue with Baron Corbin in general, is that his personality and his in-ring work has never been tested.
No.
And the only time it was tested
He's never really cut a promo, has he?
No, he hasn't.
He's just, turned up in the lights and gone to beat someone up.
Yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure his in-ring work has been found wanting. That match he did have with Dempsey, remember, wasn't very good. And, like I said, I was expecting Dempsey maybe to take, that match himself, but he didn't. And then Corbin wasn't able to take the match himself. So it ended up being just a little bit, very mediocre.
Scrappy.
Yeah, scrappy. Now, I would be expecting at this point, considering how long Corbin has now been doing this gimmick, to be seeing improvement on his in-ring ability and also on the personality that he has. I am worried that as good as Corbin is with the presentation that he has now, I'm worried that he lacks the ability to take the next step forward.
Yeah. It's sort of like there's only so many times he can come out and the crowd can count down the seconds or up the seconds, whichever, however you want to word.
That's a great. That's always a great base. But sooner or later, you're going to have to move on from that.
Yeah.
And I'm just worried that he doesn't. That it's just not going to work. But like I said, the presentation he has now is excellent. I love his entrance, his look. It's all perfect. It's just he needs everything.
I even like
else.
his entrance music.
Yeah. You look at Bull Dempsey. You look at him in comparison, right?
Ball.
Yeah.
Ball.
Like at very least. Like, one of the things that we said about Dempsey is that when we look at him, we look at a guy that's trying to be a badass. Corbin does look like a badass, right?
Yeah.
You know, at very least, he's got that going for him, but he has more than that going for him. It's just, in an ideal world, I would have seen him have at the very least, a 4-star match by now. And he hasn't, you know.
Especially in what we've come to expect from NXT.
Yes. I mean, he's not going to get anywhere by not outperforming other people on the roster. And you may be saying...
The thing is, though, I sort of tar him with the same brush as I did previously with Big Cass.
Yeah. And
he has a very generic big guy moveset.
Yeah, I think Cass, in terms of in-ring work, is way beyond Corbin. Because Cass has shown he could do a long match. Corbin hasn't.
Yeah.
The longest match he's been involved in was probably one of his worst. So that's not exactly showing us great, you know.
The thing is, it wasn't even a match. It was
more of a scrap, wasn't it?
Well, it was a no DQ match, wasn't it?
I think so, along those lines.
So it was just
we blasted that match, if you remember, because we reviewed it, and we said one of the problems with it is that they didn't really use the no DQ stipulation, which is a bit of a shame, really. Because you think those two people, they should really make the most of it. But still, is he ready for the main roster? Absolutely not. He still needs to work on those two, I think, big deficiencies in his game. However, he does have a lot of potential, way more than Bull Dempsey has. What of grade have you put him as?
A C.
A C? I put him as a B minus.
As a B minus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the personality for me is nailed on. It's just, come on, show us something here. Come out. He's going to have a match against Rhino. Yeah, Rhino will drag you through that match. Just show us that you can stay up with him. That'll be a plus, you know.
What? But Corbin's having a match with Rhino?
Yeah, we're at the special.
Oh.
So show us that you can hang with a guy like Rhino. At very least, you need to hang with him. But in a perfect world, show us that you can outperform Rhino. If you can do that, then this grade is going to look a lot better.
I think it'll probably be easier for him to match Rhino.
Yeah, to be honest. I think Rhino is going to be we said come to Jesus meeting. I think Corbin's going to realise that for a big guy, you need to be able to take hits. Rhino knows that better than anyone, and he can take a hit very well. So
he can give a hit.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is one thing. It's like we've mentioned it before, but I think Rhino's been such a great addition to the NXT roster.
Yes, yeah, very much so. And you look at the two guys they brought back. The Brian Kendrick came back for all of a week. I thought that was as much of him as I could take. But Rhino, yeah, perfect. Great guy to bring in. And you know, one thing with Rhino as well is that he's one of those people like Jericho. You're always going to get a good match out of the guy, and from what I've heard, he's always a stellar professional. So yeah, exactly the guy I want to bring in into NXT. So let's talk about the boss, Sasha Banks, the NXT Divas champion, and as I said, resident boss of the women's division over there. Let me talk about Sasha Banks. Her presentation, her character, her in-ring work are damn near pristine.
Yeah.
Right? She isn't just Sasha Banks. She is the boss, Sasha Banks. She is a character that she portrays very well. And she has shown, when she had her moment, much like Corbin has had a couple of moments where he could have shown us he's more than what he is. She had her moment against Charlotte, and it wasn't so much the Fatal 4-Way match where she won the belt. It was the singles match. We said then, okay, show us what you've got. Show us, are you good enough to hang with Charlotte, who is, you know, the Divas champion. She's the bar of excellence in NXT.
Yeah.
So me and Matt were so happy.
The one that, like, even though she lost, it was like,
yeah.
But I am now a Sasha fan.
Yeah. She told everyone then that I'm not just she has this that opportunity she had, which she took and she made it her own. is the same one that Becky Lynch now has against her. So it's good for Becky Lynch in that sense.
Like it's almost like really cliche. It's like, I'm not Sasha Banks, I'm the Sasha Banks sort of thing.
Yeah, and the way one of the things I want champions to do is to portray themselves like they are champions, right? And you may be thinking, oh, what does that mean, Tony? Well, that means that you go out there every single night and you're not afraid to say, I am the best, and to show everyone that you're the best. Unfortunately, champions, especially on the main roster, have a habit of, I'm the best, 1, 2, 3, I get pinned. You know, or they have a belt, but they don't really feel like a champion. It just looks like it's kind of an accessory to them, you know.
Yeah.
So,
which you get quite a lot with the divas.
Yeah, sometimes. Like for instance, like Nikki Bella sometimes conducts herself like a champion, the way she walks around and everything. But I think that someone like Charlotte, the way she presents herself, the way she moves, is like, I am the champion, right? I don't have to prove anyone to anyone. You have to prove it to me. I am the standard of excellence. And Sasha has that with it there. So, what is the one thing that stops her from being an A-star? And she isn't an A-star, which may shock a few people because everyone knows I fucking love Sasha Banks, right? The one thing I think that
it better be a valid argument because I'm giving her an A-star.
Oh, here we go. I think her promos need a little bit of work. Just a teeny tiny bit of work.
I think compared to what she'd be getting promoted up into, it's fine.
Yeah, I think maybe it's because
it's not like she's going up into a division of the greatest talkers.
Yes, but the reason I say that is because the standard of excellence that I use to put her up on is Charlotte, and I think Charlotte's a better promo than she is.
Okay.
Only just a little bit, right? Only just a tiny, tiny little bit. And it's because I'm being really harsh, right? But I've given her a grade of A. That's the only thing I think is that her promos, like the promo she had this week, I wasn't that big of a fan on it, if I'm most honest. I liked it, and by God, as you say, there, man, it's far better than what the majority of the divas can do on the main roster. But I thought it could have been a little bit better. So that's the way I look at it there. One thing I will say about Sasha Banks before we move on to the Raw review, which we're fastly running out of time to even complete at this point.
I suddenly realised it's like we've been talking for ages.
Yeah,
we haven't even touched Raw.
It's been like the last 2 episodes have done this. It's the fan feedback that's doing it, which we love, which is awesome. But one thing I will say about Sasha Banks is that she has one of the gimmicks that I think will transition very easily onto the main roster.
Oh yeah.
So that will work really well into her favour. So there is.
Do you know the one thing I find actually the best with Sasha Banks?
Go on.
She's not even like some, they say like, oh, some of the gimmicks are yourself amped up to 10 sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's not even remotely close to who Sasha Banks is.
Yeah, she's like a
massive like comic book anime nut job.
Yeah, she's like a massive like anime nerd and stuff like that, isn't it? So she's not even like the boss outside of what she is. But you never think that. Like people, unless you would know, and you've seen these pictures of her with these fucking anime shirts on, like you wouldn't know that she isn't anything but the boss, and that means she's nailed that character. And that's absolutely perfect. So, there's some people that play a character and you're not even remotely like that outside of it, are you? You can just tell. Yeah. Sasha, you can't. So, I'm sure there's some parts of the boss which are like her, but it's she's amped at very least a small part of her up to that, rather than a huge part of her personality and everything along those lines. So. Grade A. Like I said, I am being really fucking harsh. So. In that sense, but that's your first A-star. No, you gave one to Kevin Owens as well. Sorry.
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah. So that's our NXT.
How come I not?
Yeah, to be honest, like I said, when we said Kevin Owens, that's why I put him on the first one, just to show people there are guys with A-stars on them on that roster, and Kevin Owens is one of them. So there you are. For the record, by the way, I liked his promo he had this week with Michael Cole. He had one of those sit-down interviews.
Oh, okay.
Except at the end where he thanked Michael Cole and said, "Oh, I like your work" and stuff like this. Considering earlier on in the day he was like, "You haven't congratulated me on being NXT champion yet." I love that. He's just very much like. Yeah.
But that's all he wants. It's all he. It does. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't mind the fact that if he was sort of like, "Oh, thanks for having me," sort of thing.
Yeah.
Considering all he wants is just that recognition, it's just like. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm the champion.
he wants everyone to say he's the best, and he's happy if you call him the best. He won't have any problems with you. In fact, he'll like you. But if anyone says for even remotely, well, do you think Sami Zayn? Then he's got a problem with you. You know, then he's like,
Yeah.
nah, I ain't got time for you. So yeah, that's why I like that part. Raw review, Matt. We need to get onto it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Raw review. Let's get onto this. We are still on the road to Payback. WWE have announced another free month for the network for new subscribers. That's 2 back-to-back. And they gave one just before Mania as well for Fastlane. So Mania is the only month they haven't done a free month in the last 4 months. So that's quite interesting there.
Well, there's not like they're going to go giving away their number one show for free.
Exactly. And to be honest, giving away Payback isn't going to lose them a lot of money. Let's just be honest.
No.
It didn't do that much business originally.
However, I want my free month, damn it.
I know. They do the classic thing. I mean, when I was working at Sky, they did all this stuff. Oh, sign up for Sky Sports and you'll get that for free. But all the new people don't get any deals like that. It's because to get new people in, isn't it?
That's it. Oh, you already have it? Well, fuck you.
Well, fuck you. Give us money. Yeah, essentially. So I think one of the things that I listened to a fellow podcaster, the Solar Monster. He said that what a lot of other people have been doing, if you've been smart enough, is by setting up multiple accounts with multiple credit cards and then cancelling them so you get the free month. That way, over the last 4 months, you've only paid 1 month's subscription for 4 months of WWE Network.
That is hassle.
Hassle, but it would have saved you some money. So it would have saved you £30, Matt.
I honestly don't mind.
Well, your money bags, yeah, you've got loads of money.
For what I'm getting, I will pay the $9.99.
Trying to make everyone think that you're like sitting there with your monocle with your golden laptop or something like that. You know,
the fact that I have a pipe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it suits it.
It's already off to a good start.
Come on, Bitterman, give me my. It's the fact I'm clapping with the back of my hands, because of my blisters. Jesus. Anyway, Montreal was the place of Raw this week, and you may think Montreal. Well, a certain person comes from Montreal who's on NXT. That comes into it later. And we talked about it earlier on.
A certain person comes from Montreal, and Montreal knows it.
Yeah, exactly. So, Randy Orton kicks off the show this week. He says Payback is a...
Oh, actually, I have this question for you, and obviously we will come to it.
Mm.
But they weren't here, Tony.
I know.
And would I be right in saying that it kind of opened with a match?
You would be kind of right in saying that as well. We'll get into that because I've got notes on this promo at the end of it. And he says that Payback is a fitting name for a pay-per-view as he'll get payback on Seth Rollins. And I would argue he kind of already got that when he beat him within an inch of his life, a couple of weeks before WrestleMania. But still, fair enough. You can say, he was screwed at Extreme Rules, that's why he's getting payback, but it just still kind of...
It's like more payback.
Mm. He says he's going to win the world title, as you would expect he would, and this brings out Roman Reigns. Reigns says that he'll get payback on Rollins, don't worry. Everyone, look under your chair. Everyone has payback for Rollins. There you go. Yeah.
Suddenly payback on Rollins has turned into the IC title.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's turned into a new Oprah giveaway. Do you want payback on Rollins? Do you want payback? Everyone.
Joe, the worst part is, it just flashed into my mind. It's like, when I mentioned the IC title, suddenly just in the back of my mind, it just heard the little voice. I was like, what's happened to the IC title? Oh.
Injury.
Oh, it's sad.
Sad.
What's happened to the IC title? Oh.
It is funny, though, going into that name, with having a pay-per-view name like that, they could literally switch it to everything. And I've got a few of them. Are you ready?
Okay.
So we could get Vengeance on Seth Rollins. You like that one?
Oh,
you ready?
Oh, we could, yeah.
We'll go Over the Edge with Seth Rollins. Got another one. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
We'll have No Mercy for Seth Rollins. I've got one more. You ready? We'll have a one-night stand. No, we won't do that. We won't have a one-night stand for Seth Rollins. No, we don't do that. Orton calls out Reigns for not winning the belt.
The other thing is just sort of like, and it will just be a resurrection of our feud.
Yeah. We're having a one-night stand with him, yeah. Oh yeah, was it? Or our feud will cause insurrection, and
that's
yeah. But usually you could do that. I had fun coming up with that, so people just come up with loads of different names that you could implant there, pay-per-view
old pay-per-views.
Old pay-per-views. Honestly, just do a comment, just come up with a pay-per-view, worm it into something. We'll get something with Seth Rollins, and you can use a pay-per-view name. So you could honestly do it. There's quite.
I'll take him. to Armageddon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. It works. You can do it with anything, so it's awesome. Or what happens with Seth Rollins? There will be a backlash, or something.
The worst part is, it's like, and what he will face the capital punishment.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I bet that DVD's looking at you still right now, isn't it? As
I'm
well?
still here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm still here.
With the wrapping on.
Yeah.
Still, no one night stands with Seth Rollins. Especially not with his pictures, anyway. Orton calls out Reigns for not winning the belt at WrestleMania. And this, obviously, as opposed to the multiple title reigns that Reigns has had, obviously. Reigns says, oh, well, I beat you at SummerSlam. And this brings out the New Day. I thought Seth Rollins would come out. I was quite happy he wasn't, to be honest. But
I was expecting Rollins, and then suddenly like, oh, I love it. I was like, what?
Can you feel the power?
The power!
Orton actually seemed to quite like their theme. He was dancing to it a little bit. So maybe
that was really weird.
It was a bit.
It's like, Orton's dancing. Make the scary man go away.
Oh dear, but yeah, Xavier Woods comes out. He's got the mic. He wants to spread the power of positivity. Big E says that not only does Rollins have Orton's number, he has it on speed dial. Oh!
That was the worst part that they started doing that whole sort of, oh! It's like, really?
I just hope that someone gave Orton some aloe vera for that fucking burn. Stat. Right now. Jesus. They want Reigns and Orton to clap with them. They obviously don't. Even though Orton seemed well up for it, he seemed like he was well up for clapping with the New Day. We'll see Orton coming out with a New Day shirt next week, I'm sure. He'll just slowly transition into being one of these.
Just the grey and green.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he loves the New Day. Maybe that's just how it goes. They announced Kane made a handicap match for the start of the show, and that starts the show.
It's not a handicap match, Tony.
What is it?
There's not a handicap match.
Wait, it's a three.
But it's not. It's a fabulous Freebird match, apparently.
No, it's a fabulous Freebird rule. I know what that is. That's fine.
But that's all they were doing on commentary.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all JBL was just like, it's not a handicap match, it's a Freebird rules match. Like,
no, it's a handicap match.
Yeah, just like, please stop.
I don't even understand that. The Freebird rule, as one of our fans pointed out, is that they can switch the titles between whichever ones they want, right? So if they want Xavier Woods and Big E to defend the titles one night, they can do that, and they can have Kofi defend it the next night. It has no problem. There's no problem with that. But yeah, that was just very strange. However, my review for this opening segment is it was under 10 minutes and it didn't have the authority. That's a win for me. I'll take that. The authority weren't part of this opening segment and it was under 10 minutes. Now that isn't a coincidence, by the way, but still, that's quite good. I'll take that as an opening segment. And as you say there, Matt, it leads into a match, so that's even better for me.
Yeah, you love it.
Love it. Reigns and Orton against the New Day, and I cannot even begin to explain how better off the New Day are being a heel group. They feel that role effectively, and they're now entertaining. Right? Yeah. Before, they were just frustrating as all high hell. Now, they fill that role perfectly. And good on them as well, because, man, if they keep doing this heel shtick and it works as it is at the moment, then their place on the show is well deserved. And that's something me and Matt have fucking blasted the New Day, and as soon as they turned heel, everything just clicked. Everything's now working. So, fair play.
Could I almost go as far as to say that you're quite liking Kofi at the moment?
Absolutely.
Which is just bizarre to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been very critical of Kofi, but him being heel may just be the one thing that he's needed all this time, and to really go someplace. He's been with the company, 8 years? For 7 years and 10 months, he's been face.
Yeah.
And it's been instantly forgettable. Now, hopefully, he can do something that's worth a damn. So, there we are. Even as part of a group. I'm just hoping that Kofi can use this as something like, okay, I've never done this before. Creatively, this is going to be awesome for me. I can do everything I've wanted to do, and just show us what you can do. Because his in-ring work has always been good. It's just his personality hasn't. Decent enough opening match, this one. Some good action here. Good way to start off the show. Reigns accidentally spears Orton and gives Kofi the pinfall victory. So New Day actually get the win here, which I'm glad for. They are the tag team champions, and they're in a handicap match. I would have been quite pissed off if Reigns and Orton won this match. So I'm glad. Yeah. I'm actually very glad that New Day comes out with a win here. Afterwards, Kane comes out, says there's no shame losing to the tag team champions. Absolutely no shame. I agree. I hope WWE remembers that, in the future. That even if you have two big stars, they shouldn't beat the tag team champions, especially in a handicap match. That's just my opinion. And he makes Orton versus Reigns for later in the night, as the two obviously have some issues they need to wrestle out of each other. So that's what they do later on. Seth Rollins meets with Kane backstage. They do a bit of arguing, which is essentially how they open up every single conversation between these guys now.
I wonder if they can actually just talk things out.
I'm pretty sure they can. I'm pretty sure. So, apparently, Kane says he was never close to Santa Claus. He tried to blowtorch his chestnuts. And I would say, what is it with Kane and other man's testicles? Really?
That's true.
He wants to electrocute people. He needs to go back to Dr. Shelby and see someone about that shit, because that's getting a little bit scary at this point,
I just think we should have Dr. Shelby back so they can sort out their differences between, Kane and Rollins.
Yeah, exactly. Just make them hug it out.
Yeah.
That's all they need. Kane sets up Rollins versus Ambrose, with J&J security are banned from ringside, which obviously does not make Rollins very happy with that.
What a shock.
That's it. Renee Young speaks with Ryback in the ring, because her backstage interviews are basically reserved for John Cena, so obviously this happened to happen inside the ring. Ryback says he has no idea why he was targeted by Bray Wyatt, and then as the crowd are chanting Goldberg, he does something that he should have done years ago, and references the fact that they're chanting Goldberg. He says, well, I like that guy too. I like your guy. He's great. And all that chant... Tell you what, did anyone chant Goldberg after he said that? No. And one of the things he actually said was quite poignant as well. If I just ignore it, you keep chanting. Exactly. Yeah. So you should have referenced it years ago, and then you would have saved yourself all this fucking hassle. All you had to do was just say, well, I'm not him, but I like him. Fair enough,
Yeah.
Done.
Like, cool. If this is how you want to do it.
Yeah, he would have solved it all the way. It's just WWE wanted to bury their head in the sand and go, oh, it will go away eventually. It didn't, and then if they had done this promo 2 years ago, you wouldn't have been hearing all that shit. I promise me. He talks about his injury that he had earlier on.
Again.
Saying that he takes fear and negativity, eats it, and turns it into positives. He basically kind of rehashed that really good promo he did a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But because it was so good, I didn't mind hearing it again at very least. That was okay. Although his talk of turning things into positives is like it's kind of sounding like Big E and the New Day, but still.
It's a bit Dallas-y, isn't it?
A bit, yeah. So Wyatt shows up with a video package. He calls Ryback a scared little boy, and the rest of the promo is basically the usual Wyatt spiel that unfortunately holds no weight for me.
You're still scared of things. Of course you're scared of things. Yeah. Everyone's scared of things.
But
I'm not scared of things.
I'm the new face of fear, even though I fucking lost to The Undertaker.
Shh.
Yeah, I know. It really fucking annoys me that I don't care about Wyatt anymore. It really... How could they ruin Wyatt for me? How could they do it? And I still like the way he does his promos, but unfortunately now his words mean nothing. So I'm like, why should I care? Why should I give a shit?
I know.
And unfortunately, in this promo, I was more interested in what Ryback had to say than Wyatt was. That is a shame. That is a real shame, to be honest. And it feels weird to say it, but I was. That's just the bottom line of it. But still. I know you're still a little bit more on the Wyatt wagon. I'm glad of that. But,
I know.
But you can see...
It's getting weak for me.
Yeah, you can see exactly where I'm coming from. And unfortunately, it's just way too prevalent with him at the moment.
Yeah.
So. Kid and Cesaro versus The Dissension. And I call them The Dissension because they are descending. Cesaro shows again that he's not as boring as he's been labelled by management. I tell you what, you get that guy in the ring and he will get the crowd on their feet every single time.
Is it one thing that's just like, he's boring? Really? Have you seen the match he's just had?
I know, I'm not bored by Cesaro. I'm hugely entertained by the man.
I love it.
So, I used entertained as the word for a reason there, because apparently he's not entertaining enough. But to me, he's absolutely entertaining, hugely so.
Yeah.
Kid and Cesaro get the win via the swing and the drop kick, and the descent for the Dissension continues. It's amazingly how quickly they've been given up on, to be honest. They've just been... There's the reason I call them the Dissension. And I know that kills you, Matt, but to be honest, you have to kind of agree.
The detention.
The detention, are they?
The detention.
I call them the Dissension. Maybe someone else can come up with an awesome name for them as well. What do you guys like, the detention or the dissension? Which one do you guys like? Just let us know and we'll...
I think I was using the detention because that's what primetime players were referring to them as.
Oh, yeah. When they were doing their little promos, which seemingly have gone nowhere since then, but still. But Kid and Cesaro get the win. They will be challenging for the tag belts against New Day. And you know what? Considering they had the best match on the last pay-per-view, I'm happy for that. I'm awesome with it. That's fine with me. Rollins is interviewed backstage. He says that he shouldn't be resting tonight, and Kane is a moron. And he says, essentially in this promo, everything that he said in the last couple of months, but now he condensed it into about 10 seconds. So it is possible. But there we are. Rollins versus Ambrose. Kane comes out before the match.
There we go.
Getting tongue-tied there. That's what happens when we're getting close to the 2-hour mark on this podcast. He says that if Ambrose beats Rollins, then he'll be added to the Payback main event. So Rollins is very unhappy with that, but fair enough. I like that idea.
Yep.
Now, a little pet hate of mine that happens every time there's a triple threat or a fatal four, especially when there's a fatal four-way match. Commentaries state that if it's a fatal four-way match, Rollins' chances of retaining the belt are only 25%. And I would say, that's not how sport works, you moron.
Yeah.
Just because, there's 4 people means you have a 25%... If I were to wrestle Brock Lesnar tomorrow, does that give me a 50% chance of winning? Fuck no, I have 0% chance of winning, right? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Any chance? No chance.
It makes as much sense as Scott Steiner doing the math for them, okay? And we all know Scott Steiner's maths, in regards to that. But I just don't like how they do that. I just think it's really stupid. Oh, he goes down to 25% chance of... No, it isn't. It's not like that, You're saying that each of these guys have an equal chance? No, they all have different styles and different... But they don't focus on that, obviously, because it's not entertaining enough. So, there we are. Regardless, however, it doesn't really matter because this match is freaking awesome. Very, very good match. Close calls, physicality, storytelling... And it does show to me that these two guys can have a world championship pay-per-view feud in the future.
Yeah. Like they should have done in the first place.
These guys can get it done. They really can.
Yeah.
And this was match of the week, in my opinion. Only because the guy later on, who probably should have had it, unfortunately got injured. So, that's like that. But, yeah, I thought this was match of the week. Very close. But it was exceptional. This match was very good. And it reminds me a little bit of the chemistry these guys had last year. That was probably one of the most entertaining feuds of last year, easily. So, not one of the best conclusions to that feud, but still one of the best feuds, regardless. Man, this match was awesome. I want to see more like this each week. Absolutely. Ambrose gets the win. He uses the most powerful move. Oh, sorry. Let me go back on that. The most devastating finishing move in wrestling history, the roll-up pin, gets the win. Of course, I mean, come on. It's a chance for a world title shot.
The roll-up pin was like, I didn't even mind that it was a roll-up pin.
Yeah. Well, I was saying that, come on, it's a chance for the world title shot. Do you think he's going to use dirty deeds for that shit? No. He goes to the one move he knows will get that done. The roll-up pin. Of course. Just more of this. You can tell that Ambrose and Rollins... out of the guys wrestling each other in the Shield, you can tell that these two have the most chemistry fighting each other. Rollins and Reigns, they do have some, but not nearly as close as Ambrose and Rollins do. So.
No, I think it's because theirs goes back to like FCW.
Exactly, yeah. And you can't wrestle each other or be training with each other for that long and not get, that's the reason why Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn is going to be good. Because they know each other, so well. And they know how to work off each other, so there's that. Rollins backstage, he is livid, Matt. He's livid at Kane. Says that Kane says it's nothing that he's done that made it a 4-way. It was the fans' choice, and then Rollins losing that made it a fatal 4-way match. And he threatens then to increase the challenges of the match to 9 challenges. And then Rollins obviously then shuts up. Doesn't want
Yeah.
9 challengers against
It's
him.
like, stop being a dick. I can make this worse for you.
God forbid it puts
Okay.
his chances down to 10%. Ooh.
It's a fucking championship scramble match.
Yeah. But then Kane says, don't worry, I've got it all dealt with. I've got it all under control. And Rollins can't really say anything because he's too worried of literally having his challenges increased to 30. Royal Rumble match for the belt. Yeah, that's it. That would be a bit excessive, wouldn't it, really, to be honest? Brian Saxton interviews Lana, and he asks her, how does it feel to be loved by the crowd? Well, before she can answer, Fandango says that she should accept the fans, as we are euphoric. I told you, we were a better fit for my Fandango. You can tell our man is so happy now being with us. Fuck Rosa Mendez. Yeah, we know how to treat our man, Fandango. As long as he keeps doing that dance. Yeah,
that's it.
Happy.
We will Fandango on forever.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. I like I've taken this sort of thing of him coming to us as the fans and taking it a little bit too much to heart. He's our man now.
It's always getting a little bit
weird. A little bit weird, maybe.
A bit odd.
Okay. I can understand that. Moving swiftly on from this shameless pay-per-view plot. Fandango versus Rusev. During this match, Fandango gets Lana to dance a little bit. So she does she seems to like it. She's doing the thing. I'm doing the fingers right now. Does the fingers. I'm going to imagine a few of our fans are doing it as well. Come on, it's all Fandango a little bit on the podcast. Yeah. A lot of people, some people said, oh, does this mean Lana's going to be going with Fandango now? Well, I fucking hope not. It won't.
Oh, God, yeah.
But, no, we won't be going that way.
She's doing really good. What are we going to do? Shit on it.
Yeah, let's put her with Fandango. No. However, her dancing sends Rusev into a craze, sends his woman to the back and tells her to go make a grilled cheese sandwich, because obviously that's all she's good with. That's what I'm just translating from what he said.
Yeah.
Then he quickly just dispatches Fandango, accolades him. Done. But I tell you what, if I were Rusev, I'd be a little bit worried as well, because, like I said, worst case scenario, he could do the thing where maybe it's all a ruse and they use the Lana factor to win him back the belt, which, okay, fair enough. Would be a good way of keeping him going.
Ooh, you sneaky Russian.
Yeah. But for what we've been hearing, that Vince wants to use Lana as the new face of the women's, not the women's division, but the female face of the company going forward. So let's have a look at this. We said this before. He's going to lose his belt. He's going to lose his undefeated record. He's going to lose his woman. There ain't going to be that much to Rusev going forward. And last week's episode was Rusev's got 99 problems. Unfortunately, his bitch is one of them. So, in regards to that, because if he loses her, he hasn't got much really going for him. And 98 of those problems pretty much amount to John Cena. So,
yeah.
I told the guy to get out of his airspace. Did I not say that? I did say get out of the man's fucking airspace.
It's coming.
But
lost it.
They show a bunch of footage from the guys wanting to be in Tough Enough. We already talked about Tough Enough earlier on. And I actually came up with the idea of maybe making a Tough Enough series, where they take a bunch of people. Normally they take people who've already had experience in the ring, take people that have had no experience in the ring, and make it so they don't get a WWE contract, but they get an NXT contract if they're the best of the trainees going forward. So, literally, they've never taken a bump before, but they might be in good shape or whatever.
Because that's the one thing I don't understand with Tough Enough, is like, with what they're doing. Is it like, to get a contract, but with who?
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to NXT first.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not going to go and here they are, straight onto the main roster.
We look at
really.
Big Andy was an FCW until he got fired, so yeah,
that's true.
The way it goes from there. But yeah, that's the one kind of thing. To see all these guys take their first bump, I'd just like to see 10 people take their first bump. I'd just like to see all their reactions.
Just run the 10 clothesline drill.
Don't remind me. I got concussed doing that, so that was more my fault. Because I landed really badly, but still. And I got clothesline fucking hard. Let's not go about that, but still, in regards to that. Just that 10 clothesline drill, by the way, just to tell people kind of what I'm saying here. When me and Matt were trained to be wrestling, I got clothesline. You get clothesline 10 times, you have to get back up, get into the corner, take the clothesline. You did it quite well.
Yeah.
I took it, I got concussed, and I literally couldn't even get up. I had to roll out of the ring, and I literally didn't roll and then, gradually get up. I roll and fell out of the ring, so that's how I took my 10. But still. But yeah, I'd actually be quite interested in watching a Tough Enough where they take their first 10, first bump, their 10 clotheslines, all this other starting stuff. I'd be quite interested to see these guys do that, and then you have some people like, oh shit, I don't want any part of this sort of thing, and then you kind of see that, but still. Stardust versus R-Truth. I call this the rematch that no one asked for. So here you are. And I remember the days when I look at this match. I remember the days where I used to like R-Truth. And people would be shocked. I did like R-Truth. Matt can attest to this. I liked R-Truth. Yeah. Those 3 weeks on commentary killed that. I guarantee you that. I don't want to see anything more of the guy. 3 weeks on commentary made me hate R-Truth. So, still. Stardust brings a bag to the ring, which obviously then means that the commentary have to spend the entirety of the match wondering what could be in the bag, rather than the in-ring competition that's actually happening, So, what did you think was in the bag, Matt? Do you think there was anything?
I genuinely couldn't care.
Yeah, I thought it was a big bag of I couldn't give a shit.
Just a whole bag of nothing. Yeah. It could have been nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, could have been nothing. Apparently, though, it's spiders, and that they essentially scares R-Truth, and he has to then he's so scared, and then Stardust rolls him up, gets the pin, costs in the match. And I'm like, you gotta love the character development here. When WWE want to be treated as entertainment of the highest quality, and you have R-Truth's only character-defining, trait is that he doesn't like spiders.
Yeah.
As his only character-defining trait. How long has he been with that roster, and how much character development has he had? Not fucking much. You want to be compared to the likes of Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead, and no.
So, look, we have a guy who's scared of. We have a guy who's scared of spiders.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Is it a really big spider?
No, that's the only thing. That's kind of
just
about.
A spider.
Just that he's afraid of spiders. Yeah. Still. I just think that's quite funny when they want to bring up Game of Thrones or say, "Oh, we're the prime time," or "We're the top guys." It's like you're one of your characters. His only defining thing that makes him different is that he's afraid of spiders.
Yeah.
Congratulations. When he's obviously a very talented guy who could probably cut a good promo. Still. Moving on to hopefully greener pastures. John Cena comes out. And I tell you what, Montreal can give us, London crowd, a run for our money with that John Cena song.
We want our chant back.
It's everyone's chant. I just think that they could...
It's our chant.
We started it. Yeah, we did start it. But back at WrestleMania all those years ago. John Cena starts his promo by saying he quits. And, of course, he says, now that word has meaning, which obviously it doesn't because you said it and it has no meaning.
Yeah. And guess what? We all won't see you.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll still see you next week.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you're fired today, we'll see you. See you.
Cena, the man who can get fired and still turn up to work the next day.
Exactly, yeah. And he has no problems at all. And he still get paid. He says the fans, they wouldn't quit if the likes of Russo had him against a wall and they were beating him up and told him to quit. What would you say? And they all go, no. And I'm like, if a guy like Russo was beating me up and he asked me to quit, I'd probably fucking quit. Let's just be real. I'm a realist,
pretty
okay?
sure I'd just roll over and just
I can say that as a man, quite happily. If I get beaten up by a big Russian dude, I'd probably say, can you please fucking stop? I would be like, oh, I'll never quit. And no, I think I'd probably say, I'm pretty much done with being beaten up now, to be honest, but there we are. One thing you can say about Cena is that, one thing you can admire about the guy is that, yeah, some of the crowds that he goes to are very hostile towards him, but he has a way of eventually turning them around.
Swinging them around, yeah.
Yeah, he did it even to the London crowd, He knows what to say, at the very least, to get them...
Mate, we're easy. I think London should have Mania.
Yeah! Even though we knew better, we knew it would never happen, but still. But, yeah, it gets them to chant for what he's saying rather than, hating him, and, fair enough. That's a good thing that he does. You have to say as we see it, so... This brings out my favourite wrestler of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart.
To be fair, even if it wasn't, that would have been just such a great moment. It's like, Bret's challenging for the title?
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't be, but...
I know.
Considering, his last few matches were a few years ago, and they weren't exactly great either, to be honest. But Bret Hart says that he's actually only there to introduce a great wrestler, and this brings out Heath Slater. And he seems... I think that Heath, unfortunately, has been permanently brain damaged by thinking that he actually has to win a match. I have to say this to Heath. You actually have to win a match to become a champion, by the way, Heath. So maybe you need to win a couple of matches.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can be champion, maybe. His mouthing off essentially gets a microphone to the face. And when I say essentially, I mean actually gets a microphone to the face.
He gets all the way to the ring and then just like, and Randy Orton attacks me out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then Rusev attacks me from out of nowhere. Well, Bret Hart's going to hit you with a mic.
from out of nowhere. Yeah. I wonder what Bret rates Slater's involvement in this whole segment. I think maybe a 4 out of 10. Probably.
I was thinking 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10 as well. Sami Zayn then comes down, obviously adored by his hometown crowd, and rightly so, and injures himself literally as soon as he comes out. However, he does continue to work the match as best as he can. He did get checked on throughout the match. And I tell you what, even with that, he performed a very high quality match here. And I'm sure...
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm sure that if he wasn't injured, this would have been the match of the night. But he was injured, and that is a shame. Do
you know what the thing is, though? I could still accept... I'm still going to put this as my match of the night. Because... Not just because, like, oh my god, we had Sami Zayn, but, like, I think the fact that he injured and
he still did it.
Allowed, just sort of like the allowment to go on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Zayn's going to make that call, and he did when that medical staff came in to see if he's all right. Zayn obviously would have said to him, "Look, I can at least finish the match." That's the professional thing in wrestling, even if you're injured.
I've done worse.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what he thought to himself anyway. And like I said, this match, one thing I will say about Zayn, much to the contrary of Russo's fucking stupid, idiotic comments, is that he looked right at home wrestling someone like Cena. He looked like a competitor, which is exactly what he should be. He looked like he was right at home working with someone of that stature, so that was great. He was even allowed to kick out of the AA in this match, which is pretty damn good. However, he does get beaten. He got beaten by what I will call an awful springboard stunner, and it never has been anything but awful. But WWE kind of want to send a fuck you to Austin. I guess is one of their ways of making that happen. And then he hits the AA and then pins Zayn. But massive hats off to Zayn for working this match and what seems is a very serious injury. He pulled it off, and he did everything. He took his bumps big time in this match, and he's better than most, and that's all down to his respect of wrestling and the fact that he didn't want to let down the fans that obviously were cheering like mad for him. So there's that as well. One of the best moments of the night. Unfortunately for Zayn, it looks like it was going to be his last night for a while, and that's a real big shame.
The thing is, they're now saying that it wasn't his debut. I'm just like, was it his debut?
I think maybe
was it just tarnished, or was it similar to like when Charlotte came out and lost to Natalya?
I look at it as this was kind of his debut match, but then maybe they wouldn't have used him until after the NXT special, and then afterwards he would have been on Raw. Yeah. Now that's changed, so he won't be around on NXT or Raw for the next 6 to...
Well, the good thing is, at least we definitely know that I'm pretty sure he's not going to be known as just Zayn.
Yeah, that would be stupid anyway.
Or Sami.
Sami Zayn is fine, so...
However... It did leave me with his song stuck in my head again.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing is, I had one of my other mates who I watched Mania with. I saw him during the week, and it's just like, I hate you. Why? Because I've had Sami Zayn's music stuck in my head all week. Like, yeah!
It's one of those musics that, like, you like it, but sometimes, like, it gets stuck in your head to the point that you'll just be like, you just, like, not even want it, so... But I'll tell you what, man, what is a real shame is this with Zayn getting injured is that this is a great way to debut. And Cena, these are the sort of matches Cena should be having with rising talent coming in, right? Because, some people they don't kind of get it. Some people might say, oh, he's just like beating loads of people. If you were squashing new rising talent each week, then it will be a problem. The fact is that he's making it seem with these very high-class matches that there's at least a chance that he could lose them. Now, we know better, but, you know, the fact is that Sami Zayn, and look at this from the point of view that Sami Zayn could use this. He was injured going into the match, and he still had Cena on the ropes, right? Yeah. That's good, right? So...
And I love the blue, and we saw the Blue Thunder Bomb. I love the Blue Thunder Bomb.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so he's got his moves in. I've got no problem with him working matches like this, and having great matches along those lines. My worry is that they were going to keep racking up new guys against Cena just for him to beat, and they would get nothing out of it. You know.
Yeah.
Now, if Zayn goes off of this after showing he's such a great competitor, let's say he wasn't injured, then he lost loads of matches against mediocre guys, then there's an issue. But no, this is
I'd be pissed.
Yeah, this is fine. These are the sort of matches that Cena should be having with rising stars to give them, you know, a shot, and then maybe one day one of them beats him.
Then I find odd. Neville didn't answer the challenge.
Yeah, well, he can. I'm sure because he's still a rival.
He had his own in.
Yeah, that's it. Renee Young talks to the New Day. They're still celebrating their win from earlier on in the show. Kid and Cesaro show up and remind them that everyone is actually chanting "New Day sucks," not "New Day rocks." That's pretty much the extent of this promo that they had here.
And that Natalya likes to do slutty dances to chants.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I'm not saying that any man would have much of an issue with that. So, are you taking up issue with her dancing?
No, I was just sort of really curious. I was just sort of like, what? It's like, what's with the jiggle? It almost looks like she's trying to go for a bump and grind on the New Day section.
She's getting a little bit jiggy, shall we say?
No.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, as I said earlier on, I'm well up for another New Day and Kid Cesaro match.
Oh God, yeah.
They stole the show at Extreme Rules, so there we are. Nikki Bella versus Naomi. Well, not really, because the Bella twins get laid out before the match. Naomi and Tamina making her first appearance in God knows how long. Comes out, lay out the...
The thing is, I was thinking to myself the other day, I was like, I haven't really seen Tamina in ages. And now suddenly just like, she's coming out kicking Nikki in the face. I was like, yeah. Still got a beautiful, like, super kick.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Tamina here. Some people might moan, "Oh, she's only in that bodyguard role again," and it's like, well, to be honest, if she wasn't being used as a bodyguard at the moment, WWE probably wouldn't use her. So this is actually good for Tamina to be paired up with.
She's being used, damn it! Shut up.
Yeah, she's being used. That's good enough now. I imagine that if you'd asked Tamina, or would you rather be a bodyguard or be nothing, she'd be say, "I'll be a bodyguard any day of the week." So. Yeah, that's the way I'm gonna go for it. She's gonna be heater for Naomi.
That's it. You beat me to the term.
Yeah, that's it. I tell you what, and one of the things I will say, I mean, it was only a little bit this week, but I can feel Naomi slowly, really getting into this heel role, and I think that she will be a better heel than she ever was a face. So
yeah,
she's slowly getting there, and so you know, I was a little bit critical of her promo work. But it's not like it's the worst I've seen, and if she keeps improving with the heel persona, then yeah, I'm up for it. Go for it.
Yep, all set.
King Barrett and Sheamus versus Neville and Ziggler. And oh God, no. They did it. They actually did it.
They did it.
They did it. People might be saying, what are you saying? What are you talking about? They made Barrett into a king.
They made it his gimmick.
What was the one fucking thing I said last week? And I must have said it a lot. I know I repeated myself because I was kind of hoping a little bit that it wouldn't happen. I said, don't make it his gimmick, make it an accomplishment. Guess what they made it this week? A fucking gimmick. Now we've got King Barrett. It's all over his Titantron. He comes out with the robe, with the crown, going, hear ye, hear ye.
Yeah, I don't get that bit. The thing is, I always find that bit insulting as a British person, because it's like the royal family don't go hear ye.
I find it insulting as a fan.
It's insulting and just intelligence more than anything as well, but...
Oh, come on. Have they not realised this by now? That the last few King gimmicks they didn't fucking work. I'm sure now, I kind of hope now...
Like, how quickly did King Sheamus fall on its face?
Yeah, I kind of hope now. I'm sure that they look back and they look at Booker T and think, well, it worked for him. How long ago was that? And that was even lucky that it worked. It wasn't like that didn't work right off the bat. Booker made it work through everything that he did, and it wasn't even that. Yeah, it did reinvigorate his career, but really,
I think part of what made King Booker work most is the fact that he had a queen for a start.
Yeah, Charmel made that work. Yeah, I'm really, really disappointed. Imagine this, Matt. Stone Cold Steve Austin wins the King of the Ring. And instead of cutting the legendary promo that we all know as, Austin 316 says, I'll kick your ass, we have him go on there and suddenly pronounce himself to be King Stone Cold. And he comes out and says, hear ye, hear ye. My proclamation is that I am Stone Cold Steve. It sounds bad even saying it, right? It's awful. I don't like it. I fucking dislike it to my core, and as soon as he came out with it, I was like, no, fucking hell no. It's an accomplishment. And he's like, I will rule my kingdom. What fucking kingdom is it? What do you rule? Why do you have the authority if this guy owns it and he's the king now? I get really fucking annoyed. I was hoping so. I should have seen it coming, to be honest.
Yeah.
This match is very quick. Barrett gets the win. Bull hammers Neville as he's jumping off the ropes and lays him out.
Do you know what I think I'm getting really... I was a little bit annoyed with this. Like, it was a good match and things like that. But, like, you had the commentary and they're just like, oh, and he knocks out, like, Neville when he's going for his red arrow. No, he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't go for his red arrow at all.
He didn't.
Unless he does it springboard now, which is even more impressive, but no, he didn't.
Yeah, but it's just a two-footed springboard off the top rope. That wasn't... Like, what are you on about?
Yeah, exactly. It's just stupid. Excuse me. Yeah, this match, it annoyed me, and I think it's more because of Barrett being the king than anything else, unfortunately, but there we go. This leads us to our main event, Reigns versus Orton.
If you can call it that.
If you can call it a match, yeah. The Authority come down before the match, and they take over all the extra roles. They have a commentator, timekeeper, enforcer, all this other bollocks. And as you say, the match doesn't last very long. The Authority start beating down Orton. Reigns does the dive out of the ring for the save. Still, he gets beaten up afterwards, though. Dean Ambrose gets involved, takes down Rollins, clears the ring. Orton RKO's Reigns. Ambrose then Dirty Deeds Orton. And he stands tall. So Ambrose, pretty much this was one of the better shows for him, booking him. It has been for a while. And he ends the show standing tall. And obviously now in the Fatal 4-Way match for the title at Payback. Which he won't win, but he's still part of that match.
No. In fact, I reckon Ambrose will be the one getting pinned.
Probably. Most likely. In fact, they probably put him in there because they don't want, as you say, they don't want Orton and they don't want Reigns getting pinned again. So that's the way they want to go with it. So they bring him in to Ambrose to take the fall, which I don't like, but still. Ambrose will probably be the most entertaining part of that match, so let's not forget that. All in all, this Raw was one of the better Raws of this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually very, very good. We had two very high-class quality matches, some very memorable moments, and I thought overall the 3 hours of this show went by much easier than it does most weeks, which most weeks is a fucking drag, let's just be honest.
Yeah, I didn't have any difficulty with it.
Yeah.
That was quite good.
Limited annoyances, apart from the King Barrett stuff, which really it disappointed me more than it angered me. And I'll tell you what, the commentary, wasn't that great, as always, but it wasn't completely brain dead. There wasn't so many statements I could pick out this week that I was just like, really, really. They kind of kept themselves a little quieter this week than usual, which is better. One of the better Raws of this year. Should you see it? Absolutely. Without question, you should watch this show.
And why the hell not?
There's a few moments of this show that I'll go back and watch again, which is pretty good. Like the Sami Zayn debut, I'd want to watch again.
Especially because I liked the WWE announced it as like they do their top 10 of the show, and they announced it as like the number one spot of the week. It's like, yeah,
it was Zayn's. Yeah,
Zayn's
it was the most memorable part of the show. So, and the fact that Bret Hart was there, that's always pretty cool. He was there to endorse his man. Honestly, good show this week. They haven't had a great after Raw, but this is probably one of the better Raws since the Raw after WrestleMania. In fact, it probably is the best Raw since after WrestleMania. So, apart from the Raw after WrestleMania, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
which was the best Raw of the year. But yeah, apart from that, all good stuff. Some good matches, some excellent matches, and some good action with some, at the very least, they're ticking on the storyline. So, and they changed the main event at Payback into something a little bit more interested in now because Ambrose will take the fall. He won't win, but he's entertaining. He makes it a little bit different.
Oh yeah.
I'm happy with him getting a title shot. So, is there anything else you want to talk about this week's Raw?
Nothing really comes to mind.
Or will I put my plugs in? Plug time. Yeah, so that's this week's show. I will do my plugs now. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, then obviously you can, you can leave us a, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to carry on going forward, especially if you're a new listener. If you would like to ask us any questions going forward, then you can leave them in the comment section, or you can tweet us at TalkWrestlePod, as Matt likes to drop that. Do you want to drop it again for us?
At TalkWrestlePod.
At TalkWrestlePod.
I could drop it. Yeah. I believe it's it.
Yeah, exactly. At TalkWrestlePod. Which you can obviously see on the video there. News for next week's show. This is episode 74, and 75 will have a change in the intro and on the backgrounds. Not much of a change, but still, it'll be different for you, and I hope you guys do enjoy that as well. Yeah. Just changing it up every 25 episodes, as we are prone to do. And another thing as well, just to check you there, we are just around about 20 subscribers away from hitting 300 subscribers. If we could hit that soon, man, that would be awesome. That would be really, really cool.
That would be great.
Apart from that, is there anything else I need to plug? I think I'm pretty much plugged out. We're awesome. You guys are awesome. Yeah,
yeah, we can go with that.
You go with that. You can like the video as well if you like. Not well, it's quite helpful, but it's not overly helpful, but it's still helpful. Apart from that, we hope you guys have a great week. We hope you enjoyed this week's Raw, and you enjoyed NXT and everything along those lines. I do urge you guys to go and check out Lucha Underground while stuff is going there. You can see guys like the Tough Enough guys doing really great there. So in regards to that, I hope you guys didn't waste your money on the Mayweather Pacquiao fight last week. And if you didn't, good for you. If you did, I feel sorry for you because you were duped. That's it. Awesome. We'll see you guys next week. Hope you have a great time. And we'll see you again.
We'll catch you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.